Yep, we're live.
Goody
Hello,
gumdrops.
hello there, Matt.
Hello there, Tomas.
Thomas. May the fourth be with you.
And also with you.
Thank you very much.
Ah,
International Star Wars Day.
yeah. It's kind of it's weird because I like Star Wars, so it kind of makes sense.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of freaky when you think about it? That do you think George Lucas, or freaky, but do you think George Lucas would have guessed that 50 years, almost 50 years later, people would still be talking about that one movie that nobody ever thought was gonna be something?
I yes. Yes, I do believe he thought that for a couple reasons. One, I think you have to have some kind of like next level egotism to
Yep.
to 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 make movies like that. Like you have to be like, this is going to be the best shit ever. And
Yep.
two, he literally took less money for merchandising rights, so he envisioned a future.
And that was going to be my point because this dude
Yeah,
realized I can make a shit ton of money on action figures and lunchboxes and what the fuck
hmm
not.
yeah.
So he
But
did.
he was betting on
He
something. He was betting on people digging it. Now, did he think it was going to be, S tier awesomeness? No, I don't. I got that. You know what I mean? But I mean, hey, we're here on YouTube
well,
talking about.
exactly. And I have a few thoughts on that first movie, which are
hmm
probably going to be slightly controversial for some people. But let me ask you one thing first. What is Star Wars for you or to you? Pick your poison.
Mm, how old are you again?
A few years younger than you are. I'm 42. You're 46, right?
I think I'm 48 or 9. Um, I was born in.
Oh, I thought you were
Well,
just
I'm 40.
okay.
I'm 48. I'm 48.
Okay.
So, I mean, you probably missed it, I guess, but I actually saw Jedi in the theaters. So I was old enough to not just go but remember. It's
Hmm.
like one of the earliest childhood memories that I can recall is going to Star Wars to see it in the theaters. And it just it's everything as I've always been a fan. I've always been someone who fantasizes about things. Whether I'm listening to a great if I'm listening to a great band, envision yourself playing that song on stage, kind of thing, or whatever. So I always like to put myself in the place of the people in the things that I really dig. And what is it to me? It's as and this is going to sound really, really kind of weird, but as someone who is a stone cold 100% no unapologetic atheist, it's all about the Force.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
what moved me to like this kind of spiritual Buddhist kind of energy thing as opposed to a deity or God. And
I
that's
get
what
that.
really connected me. Yeah.
I get that. I'm not just talking about as kids, we all try to go like, not just that, no,
Yeah.
but what the force means. Well, actually, so I have. It's kind of similar. Yes, I didn't grow up with it in theaters. Also, by the way, thank you, Cornet, because that's lovely. Um, and Ravi chiming in, sexy guys, 40 is the new 60, 20. Probably a little bit of both because I feel both equally often.
Yeah.
Yeah. um,
Mentally, I'm 12. Physically, I'm 147
then,
years old.
then then you're a few years ahead of me if you're 12 mentally.
Mhm.
But so I grew up with Star Wars, but Star Wars was something that was on TV when I was like 8 or 9 years old, like in the early 90s. Late like 89, 90, 91. It was on TV, and I remember the first time I ever saw a commercial of it. I was curious, and I sat down with my parents, and I probably was a little bit younger even because I remember being quite scared of the aliens. They were scary. The cantina scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? And it was, but quickly grew over that and got impressed with everything. I did see every Star Wars movie in theaters because the special editions were released a year or so before the Phantom Menace. They redid them in theaters as well, so I did
Yes.
get to see them all in theaters. And I have a great memory of going there. We bought this like all 3 movie ticket thing. They had 2 movies on one day and 1 on the other. And one of my brothers couldn't make it for Jedi. And my dad went with my younger brother and I. And he knew the movie, of course, but he never saw it in theaters either. And I remember sitting there when the movie was done, all psyched because I was a big Star Wars nerd as a teenager, and asking him, Dad, what did you think? And he looked at me and he said, loud. That was his only response. But Star Wars has always been like a part of my childhood and my teenage years. And what started as something that, like you said, it started just as it was cool because it was spaceships and it was lightsabers and it was, action and cool. But the spiritual side of the Force, yeah, I get that connected, like all living things being as one and needing each other, and yeah.
Yeah, see, the Maya connection, it was weirdly like one of the very few connections I had with my dad. Not my dad. My dad wasn't a bad guy, but he was like very, very, very boring person, extremely boring person. Like he didn't listen to music, he didn't like sports, he didn't really like anything much out of drinking beer and science fiction. That's he didn't like regular TV, he didn't like movies. He just liked science fiction. That's what he liked. Nice. He was more of a Trekkie than Star Wars geek, but he loved Star Wars also. So, and that's the reason why I saw it so young, because of him. So it was like one of the few things that outside of beer and my dad was a mean Italian cook. Outside of those 2 things, it was probably one of the only other things I could really connect with him. And it's I've seen Star Wars who knows how many times. It's, if you just, I don't know how it is over in, obviously you don't have Thanksgiving over there. But over here in the United States, it's a tradition for the TV stations, for certain TV stations, to run the 3 original movies on a loop all day long. That's a tradition here in the United States. Yep. So at midnight on Thanksgiving morning, it's either TNT or TBS. They run 4, 5, and 6 on a continuous loop until the end of the day.
Damn.
And it's been like that for decades. So it's almost like you almost, if I've had 48 Thanksgivings, I've at least seen all the movies 48 times. You know what I mean? And not counting all the other times I just watched them at a pure want.
No, we don't have that. We have theme weeks on one of the. Let me just, by the way, quickly point out, I don't watch regular TV anymore. Like I just watch streaming, so I can always watch whatever I want. But there are TV channels that do these theme things where they will have Star Wars for like a whole week, and but that will just be 1 movie evening, maybe 2, because there's 3 trilogies right now, and we had 2 special movies, right? Rogue One and Solo. Yeah, so we got like 11 movies, shit like that. But on loops like that, no, we do not get that, which would be kind of awesome, I have to admit.
Yeah, I'm seeing if I can TV listings. Seeing if I can
go for it
right now just to see if it'll give me the. I don't know if they plan that far out in the future. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with too convoluted, but yeah. So it's been something that's been around forever, and like I'm curious to have you kind of clue me in on some of the newer stuff, because I'm a purist, so I really dug the originals. Moving on to the prequels, actually, I'll say this: I liked the first one in the moment, and wasn't a fan so much of the second one, and the third one I thought was okay, and I think they've grown on me much more over time, and appreciate them quite a bit more, especially the third one. The newer ones I liked quite a bit, but to me they're almost like the lore existed, but it felt like disconnected. Like the prequels felt like a part of 4, 5, 6, where the sequels felt for me to be, I don't know, just a little bit modern, different. Not I enjoyed them quite a bit.
I get exactly what you mean. First of all, I am actually one of the few people who enjoyed warts and all, enjoyed the sequels. Um, I I do watch all like the new shows and everything. New show is about to drop in a month, so things like Ahsoka, Mandalorian, um, Andor, things like that. I really enjoyed it. I don't really. They don't.
I want, when we get to that point, because we
Yeah.
don't have to do it now. When we get to that point, I want you to tell me why, because I have not seen Ashoka. I have not seen um what's the other ones? The Boba Fett one.
Yeah, it's shit like that.
I've
We'll
only
get to
seen
that. Yeah.
only seen the first season of Mandalorian. You know, so even while I enjoy that stuff, it was just like, I don't know, it was different for me. Not in a bad way, but it's hard.
No, but we can get to that later. But as for the prequels, I remember I still have a soft spot for the Phantom Menace, even though I mean, I'm one of those people that the entire Jar Jar Binks situation, when you look back on it, my God, how was that even accepted at the time? That they thought that they could get away with something that was at some time so blatantly
hubris on Lucas's part.
Yeah,
Mainly. You know what I mean?
definitely.
Like that is the bulk of it, to be perfectly honest with you. And one of the things, I mean, I could talk about it now, but I think I think technology is the biggest positive and negative for Star Wars in general. You know what I mean? Like, I think the lack of technology is what made the first 4, 5, and 6 special. I think the progress of technology made 1, 2, or 3 kind of iffy, and I think the monumental progress made I call them the sequels much more enjoyable.
So I think one of the biggest issues is that the problem with Star Wars, and the same thing goes for Star Trek, as harsh as it sounds, is the fans, because we're at a point in both fandoms, and that's already been a thing for God knows how long. But when the Phantom Menace hit, I believe that was 1997. So we're talking about 20 years of, there were novels already being made, there were comics being done, but fans were also filling in blanks in their own heads. So they basically built like this whole concept of what they thought the backstories of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker. At that moment, she was, of course, unnamed, but who would turn out to be Padme, the mother of Luke and Leia. They all had this entire concept of what it should be. And there will be fans who will, there will be a group of fans who will have no concept and will just go along for the ride. There's going to be fans who have concepts, but are like, I'll just see what happens. And there's going to be the fans who just go like, but what was in my head canon, as they would call it, was way better than this. And they already went in with going, I'm not going to like this because it's not going to meet my expectations. So, having this buildup of what Anakin Skywalker should be, suddenly being this 9-year-old that goes, whippy, and run around like it's going to have an impact on people who think that they know better.
Did you
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to ask you, did you ever hear the Patton Oswalt joke about George Lucas? Did you ever hear that?
No, I know Patton Oswalt.
I'll play it for you right now. It's stand up. Hopefully, it doesn't get kicked. I don't think it will.
We'll see. I was about to say, okay.
Yeah, but it's 4 minutes long. I don't think anybody's whatever. But this is my favorite encapsulation of the prequels.
Yes, I'm starting to notice as I grow older. I had this really sad realization. I was thinking the other day about a time machine. If I had a time machine, because I'm really into history, like would I go back and witness something, like find out who Jack the Ripper was or stop the Kennedy assassination? And the first thing I thought of doing, if I actually had a time machine, is I would go back to around 1993 or 94 and kill George Lucas with a shovel. That was the first thing that came to my mind. And stop him from making the prequels. That's how I would try to save history.
This has got to be.
I just run into him on the street.
This was posted 5 years ago, but it's super old.
Star Wars is one of my favorite movies, and I just want to thank you, man. Just thanks for all that. It's so great. You like Star Wars?
I love
I
his
got some good
impression.
news. I'm working on the 3 prequels, the first 3 chapters. Oh, really? You're gonna do the finally? Oh my god, that's awesome, dude! I'm so excited. I can't wait. Well,
That's all of
you're a
us.
Star Wars fan. Do you
Yeah.
like Darth Vader? I fucking love Darth Vader, dude. The helmet and the cape with the sword. It's great, man. Is he in the first movie? Yeah, in the first movie, you get to see him as a little kid. Is he like a Damien Omen kid, like evil and killing people with his mind and shit like that? No, he's just like this little kid, and then he gets taken away from his mom, and he's very sad. I don't really care about him as a kid at all. I just like the helmet and the sword and the cape. It's kind of cool about him. Well, hey, don't worry, because guess who shows up in the second movie? Boba Fett. There you fucking Boba Fett, yes, with the helmet. Awesome. So cool. Yeah, and in the second movie, you get to see him as a little kid. Again, I don't really care about him when he was a little kid. I like the chip and the helmet and then killing people. Is he like it? Does he have the little helmet on and he's killing people? Is that what's going on? No, he's like this little kid and then his dad dies and he's very sad. Do not give a shit at all about that. Could not care less. Well, don't worry, because in the third movie, you know what shows up? The Death Star. Awesome. Man, that fucking women. What is it doing? Well, you just see it at the very end of the movie. It's being built, and Darth Vader's just kind of looking at it.
Are you still there? I can't hear anything anymore.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh, you can't hear anything?
It dropped away for a bit.
I just like it when it's done and then it's blowing planets up. That's kind of what's cool about it. You look really sad. Dude, I gotta say, I'm pretty fucking sad, man. That sounds awful. That all just sounds shit.
This is such a great punchline.
Would you like some ice cream? I would like some. I like ice cream, and that'd be cool if I had a dish of ice cream. Well, here's a big bag of rock salt. I said I was going to have a dish of ice cream. Well, when you combine the rock salt with ice and cream and sugar and flavoring, it becomes. I don't give a shit where the stuff I love comes from. I just love the stuff I love. Hey, do you like Angelina Jolie? Does she give you a big boner? Well, here's John Voight's ball sack. The pink, glistening ball sack she swam out of. Now jerk off to that, you lucky so-and-so.
Fucking Christ, that's perfect.
And that's the thing.
That's yeah.
The George Lucas part of it is I have this story to tell. And he will tell you, and the internet will tell you, and they're all fucking liars, that it was a very long hashed out blueprint that he had, and he knew. No, he had a loose interpretation of the lore, and then played it up as if, oh, these are already in my brain, and I'm making.
There's interviews with Carrie Fisher and Luke Hamill during. Well,
really, is that Mark's brother? Mark Hamill? Is that Luke Hamill's his brother? Or? I got
anyway. There's
Mark Hamill. Anyway.
Sorry, there's interviews there, and during the press tour and everything. We'll get to some of the comments, by the way, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But they're talking about the ideas that George has for Return of the Jedi, which wasn't even named Return of the Jedi. It was going to be Revenge of the Jedi, and then blah. So they were already talking about some of the things that he was going to do, and it was different than what we ultimately got. The entire idea of when Yoda went with in Empire with no, there is another. He never meant Leia. He meant someone completely different. He meant that there was another Skywalker sibling somewhere in the Outer Rim that they were going to have to go and search for
Yeah.
and help. This entire fucking blueprint idea is bullshit. So,
Yeah.
but here's the thing, and this is something that a lot of Star Wars fans are going to hate me for. I like A New Hope. It is where it all began. I find it very enjoyable, and I love rewatching it. It's not a good movie.
No,
if you analyze it, like the writing, the directing, the editing, it won an Oscar for editing. What? Or some other prize. Anyway, it won a prize. It is not a well-made movie.
Well, and the one thing I will subscribe to, I guess fan theory or whatever you want to call it, I will subscribe to, is that I could definitely, maybe he didn't hash out specifics like, Leia and the other, other part of the other, that kind of stuff. It does feel like all three movies are one movie, and he had to peg it down. So if you were to make it a 6-hour movie, it all makes sense as far as the flow, tone, and tenor of the movie. It's episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. It's very much parts of a play. It's not like a movie, a sequel, and a sequel. It's like Kill Bill. It doesn't make sense. Neither of them make sense unless you watch them in conjunction with each other. As far as a traditional movie ebbs and flows.
You could literally do at the end of the awards ceremony thingy, whatever you want to call it, at the end of A New Hope, you could literally do the Avengers Endgame trick where you suddenly go to black, go like 5 years later. I think in the Star Wars universe it was 3 years later, and suddenly skip to the ice planet Hoth. You have a little bit of a dialogue, and then you can explain that they've been on the run now for several years after the explosion of the Death Star, blah 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 blah. And it can work. No, but what I mean is, like, Star Wars, and that's the thing. George Lucas has great ideas. He's a great visual storyteller. He can tell a story through images, and he does that very well, especially in the prequel trilogy. A lot of the impact of the story is told in what we see on screen in either battles or cinematic long shots, and we convey drama through that. He doesn't really work well with dialogue or actors or things like that. And that's what my biggest issue is with the prequels. They tell a great story, and thankfully because this is a nice one, by the way, from this is, by the way, my nephew. This is my, as we would say, Uncle Sayer. In some of the podcasts I listened to, there was a comment that there is now a trilogy for every generation of Star Wars fans. What is your opinion, if I may ask?
It makes sense. You know
it
what I mean?
does.
Because like I saw it as a kid, and like, if I follow the traditional timeline as Parenthood goes, my kids would have been, into the prequels, and then their kids. You know what I mean? It is a very generational thing. But I think, but it's also, the people like us that were there from the get, we got to see the movies, how they progress and how they change. And it's weird. I agree with that. There's a trilogy for every generation, but I wouldn't say it's like, oh, this millennial generation owns the sequels. No, it belongs to everybody. You know what I mean? But they have ones that were set in there in that miracle. What's the word I'm looking for? A time in your life when these things matter the most, which is, I would say, probably 8 to 15 years old or something like that.
Yeah. I think at that age you're very impressionable because you're looking for your place in the world, your own ego, and I don't mean ego in a bad word, ego as in sense of self. Your own ego is developing, and you're looking for connection, and you connect to things, and if you see things that you like, you get attached to it quite a lot, and that's what happened to you with the original trilogy. So it happens for me as well. But yeah, there is definitely, every generation is a little bit different, and each trilogy has a way of telling the stories that connect better. Still love that freaking glass, by the way. What you drink? Oh, yeah. By the way, for those who are not into Star Wars but into beer, we do drink beer. That is, if I were to have to venture a guess, a dark lager. Ooh.
Yeah, we're getting smoky up in here. 5.6%.
I'm gonna have to get me something similar soon. Something rauch. Quickly, the sequels were fine actually, but I personally don't think they fit in the original frame of Star Wars. Now that's something you mentioned a little bit earlier. Is that for some reason the prequels and the original trilogy feel more meshed together as part of one whole universe than the sequels did, which they were a fine story. And I will, by the way, say, I'm going to get back to that later. I'm not going to say that right now. But they feel, as you mentioned earlier, a little bit, I can't explain why, but a little disconnected.
Well, you have to understand, too, one of the most important things between the three trilogies is the originals was an origin story that had an end, but the end wasn't written.
Mm-hmm.
It was written by Lucas in the grand scope of things. The prequels had to land the plane in a specific way. It's not like they can imagine some story and go with it and create it in a way. They had a lore. They had set things that had to happen.
You knew where it was going to end.
Yeah, so it's not like you can make all this shit up and then the last second be like, oh, here's Darth Vader. You know what I mean? Like they had to navigate it with an end game in mind, with an established lore, Clone Wars, freaking, Darth Vader, but also being taught by Obi-Wan. Like they couldn't deviate from a lot of stuff. And then the new ones, it's weird because they have a lore that they have to stick to, but they can land the plane wherever they want. You know what I mean? So
that's what pissed a lot of people off because a lot of people,
and that's the thing. You're never going to satisfy everybody. So even if there's people who absolutely think the sequels are perfect and great. You know what I mean? More yum. I'm not going to yuck your yum. I think they're really great movies. If they were a little different, maybe I'd like them a little different. I don't know. I enjoyed them quite a bit. But yeah, it's one of those things where I think to make it less talky, I think the prequels were almost an impossible task to do. And I think with time and stepping back, like a lot of those special effects still hold up, which is, if you think about it, it's crazy. It's crazy because you go back to movies that were made back then and you watch it, like, this looks fucking bad, Yeah.
You know what really hurts me sometimes is when you look at actors like Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, even Hayden Christensen, who plays Anakin. If you've seen some of his very low key stuff, like small movies, the kid can act. He's an adult.
He got absolutely just. It was almost like you could see it coming, but. He was like once he did these, he was like he couldn't do anything else.
And he could act. He was really good. But you know what's one of my favorite things? Star Wars Celebrations a year or two ago.
Yeah, they gave him his flowers, man. Everybody loved him, and
you can see him there, and he's like, and he's like, he went like, "You're making me emotional," but not like the guy. Oh, you're making me emotional. When you see him react, he was nearly choking up, like
because he took shit.
He took shit, but people
for decades.
People are now, they are reevaluating. Now, have you ever seen the animated show, The Clone Wars?
No, I can't watch animated stuff.
I know. I think you mentioned that once. So it's actually, by the way, it's very much not a kid show because there's some very heavy stuff being handled in those shows, in The Clone Wars. But they took the Anakin character and they made sense of so many things in the prequels, but also not just the character, but also the way Hayden portrayed it. And suddenly you look back at the sequels and you're like, or the prequels, and you're like, holy shit. if you now get to the depth of that character through the Clone Wars, people were looking back at what Hayden did, and they were like, despite the shitty directing that George Lucas did, because George Lucas, according to some of the people, some of the actors, George Lucas literally said, just stand in front of the screen, say your lines, I'll make it work. He never directed them. He never did anything that.
Yeah.
I've done a little bit of acting
ego, hubris. He just,
And you need directions from a director. He never did that. So that's why even someone like Natalie Portman has some of those lines that made you just go like, when did you forget how to act? But it's not them, it's the director.
Yeah.
God bless George Lucas for the So Hayden suddenly, and with that, of course, Anakin, the character, suddenly everything works, and then you haven't seen the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, have you?
No. You can
there's a scene there when they confront each other again, right? And they have a fight. And they even worked in lore from Return of the Jedi, because when you see how Hayden or Anakin gets burned in Revenge of the Sith, and then you see him unmasked in Return of the Jedi, there's a scar there that he didn't have when he got burned. During their fight, Obi-Wan cuts open his mask. That's where the scar comes from. But you see, half of it is the mask, and the other half you see Anakin. And there's the way that Hayden acts that scene is Obi-Wan saying, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I failed you. I'm sorry for what I did. And I'm so, so sorry. And a little bit of Darth Vader and a little bit of Anakin, because those are two distinct personalities. They stand there, and you see the shift going back and forth and back and forth.
And honestly, that was my question. That I wanted to, and you're answering it, but just to kind of set it up, my curiosity was like that. I get what Lucas is trying to do, and what they're trying
very
to
quickly. No, but very quickly. I wanted to, because of what Hayden did in that scene, and to prove that Hayden really can act, and finally sold the Anakin Skywalkers, where he said, "You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did."
Yeah,
and that scene just He's both Anakin and Darth Vader at the same time in that moment, and he sells it. He fucking sells it. He can act. And if there was, like with Empire and with Return of the Jedi, a different director for Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, those movies would have probably been some of the best Star Wars we ever had. Sorry, I had to get that out there.
No. And you could tell what Lucas is going for in the prequels with Anakin, because he's trying to show a very specific path of just hate, more, and just getting angrier and angrier and angrier and angrier to the cheesy fucking I hate sand scene up until fucking, then when I fucking hate you, or I hate you, then not fucking, but just that seething anger. But that's not he needs that to be the most powerful Jedi. That's how it works. You have to have that trade-off in order to be that powerful. You have to have that much fucking hate. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how it works. But, Vader's a fucking Terminator. He's a machine. You know what I mean? He's so stoic. You know what I mean? Most of the time. And you're saying, like, he vacillates between those two in that scene, being basically, like, he gets, like, angry, but then becomes, like, a little less not hateful or not, you know what I mean? Is that what happens? He kind of like goes back and forth, or okay. If not just to watch that one scene.
It's phenomenal.
Oh, Cameron, what's going on, homie? I hope you're doing great, brother.
I'm going to quickly go through some of the comments, because it just sucks otherwise. So Leon again, my nephew, says, I love all Star Wars. Of course, I have my favorites, but I think they're partially right, because I can understand that for the young fans, the original trilogy moves a bit slow, especially because of the modern CGI, and especially I think the first one, A New Hope. If you look at how much special practical effects progressed over those few years, look at some of the scenes in Return of the Jedi. I remember being a kid, and CGI was already a thing, of course. A kid, like a teenager. I was 11 when Jurassic Park came out. And I had already seen Return of the Jedi, but I watched it a few times already. And I remember sitting there at one point, and I was probably like 12 or 13, rewatching Star Wars: Return of the Jedi again, and talking with my parents, going like, "Yeah, man, it's so great what they can do with computers and special effects." And my dad looking at me like, "There were no computers used for that." And I'm like, "No, of course there is, because you guys had that back then as well." No, that movie like Jurassic Park and everything, that was basically the first time shit like that happened. All of this was models. And I was just sitting there going like, and it made it more special for me to realize this was really, I mean, I love what they can do with CGI, and I know how I tried dabbling in it. CGI is pretty fucking difficult to get really right. So the fact that this was, so all respect for CGI artists, but the fact that all those special effects were man-made, you know, handmade, made it even more special.
And honestly, that's why the newer Star Wars, I think, are so much better, because I think back in the 90s when the prequels came out, hey, we just weren't there. So I'm assuming here, you know what the Uncanny Valley is, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So for those that don't know, the Uncanny Valley is basically, you know, computer graphics and simulation. It gets better and better and better, but it gets to a point where it's so good, but it's not perfect that it drops off a cliff and your brain doesn't believe it. That's basically the dirty explanation of it, is that it can, oh, that looks really good. That looks really good. That looks really good. And then you get to the point where you get so close to, you're like, yeah, that's totally not real. Like, I know that's not, you go from believing it to knowing it's not real, and your brain can't shut it off. And I think that's where the prequels, that's why Jar Jar sucks, because he's just Jar Jar in his dialogue and his accent and all that. But I think a lot of it has to do with Uncanny Valley, because Uncanny Valley doesn't really apply. It does, but it doesn't really apply to inanimate objects. It has to do more with humanoid beings. And they tried to make him as believable as possible, and it's not possible. It's not even possible now, and we're very, very close. And we're not, but so what they were doing back then is basically computer generating everything, like everything. Jar Jar was computer generated. The ships were computer generated. You know,
he walked on set. He walked on set with a thingy on his head.
But that was just for eye level. Yeah.
Exactly.
And Grievous absolutely generated. Blah blah blah. The whole nine. Now what they do is they do kind of like a pseudo practical CGI, and what they do is they have kind of like a loose represented model that is physically real, that they project the graphics onto in post-processing. And what that does is everything looks perfect, because the geometry and everything and the perception and the angles are all real, because it's a real object that's being focused on. But so for example, like, instead of creating the whole spacecraft, the spacecraft is a model, but they computer generate the textures onto the model, so it makes more sense for your brain, so it works better that way. It's just the way they do stuff is just so much better, and it just makes more sense. So, but I mean, if you go back in time, if you go back to 1970, what was it, 76 or when it was 77?
77.
And if you go back to 77 and you show them Return of the Jedi, any of the 4 movies, they were like, that's crazy. I can't believe they did that. If you go back and show them the newer ones, they'll be like, you're going to jail. You're a witch. You know what I mean? Like,
and that's how did you do the thing with the thing? How is that? That is not anything anyone can do. Some of the creature designs, like what was it again? They had this weird tentacle monster in Force Awakens, the first of the new trilogy, the sequel to Han Solo's new ship. They find the Millennium Falcon, and he has this sort of weird creature on it.
I don't remember. I do remember, but I don't remember clearly.
Like octopus. Anyway, it wouldn't have made sense. By the way, very quickly, Cornet, again, what we were just talking about, the Clone Wars really did Anakin justice, because they finally fleshed him out. Yeah, they fleshed him out as a character, and luckily for Hayden. Also, yes, Leon is absolutely right. Star Wars is also memories, because it was Thomas, this guy. Big Bro Uncle, who introduced me with the movies and original Xbox, Knights of the Old Republic. We used to play that stuff, and we would talk about Star Wars. Now we talk about beers and Star Wars, and yeah, it's like.
And the video games play a huge role in it for me too. Like, I can't tell you, Like some of the video games that, like oh my god, you want to get into video games now?
Well, I want to ask you one question before we do the video games.
We don't have to. We can move on.
Oh no, we can. We can.
I
haven't played all of the videos, but I've played a few because there's a question I've been dying to ask because we've talked a little bit about, you know, the sequels, the prequels, and the sequels, prequels, original trilogy, things like that. What is your worst Star Wars movie?
I'll probably vote on party lines and go to episode 2, even though I don't think it's a bad. I don't think any of them are bad. That's the thing. Like, I don't think any of them are bad. Now, I haven't seen Solo, so that could be.
You'll like it. I think you'll like it.
Yeah. I actually went to watch it because we talked about this off camera. Me and Thomas talked about this, and I'm like, actually, I haven't watched Solo yet. And I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to watch it. So last night I brought up all my movies, and I'm like, here we go. And I decided to watch Iron Man 2 anyway. Yeah, and I'm just like, fuck it, I'm gonna watch Iron Man. Yeah, and that's it. And there's none of them I hate, man.
I'm saying,
I don't know. Well, maybe what was the name of the last one?
The Rise of Skywalker.
That might be up there.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it because it did so many things really cool, and other things it really sucked.
It felt like it started to do. It felt like they just like. It felt like me today. It felt like I had all this time, and then I realized I needed to do this in 40 minutes, and I was 20 minutes away from home, and I had to like hurry up and get my shit done. That's kind of how it felt as a movie.
I get that. I mean, it had that, and then there's I rewatch it every now and then, usually in 2 or 3 parts because I get a little bit bored and distracted. There's so many awesome things in that movie. I mean, there's this sort of the galaxy uniting thing at the end where Poe Dameron is flying in his X-Wing and he's like, there's too many of them and we can't win this, and there's too many of them, and then you hear Lando's voice over the comm going, but there's more of us. And then you see this sort of basically as if it's like every fucking ship in the galaxy showing up.
Yeah.
And everybody's there to stop the evil. And then one of the guys from the First Order or the Final Order, whatever this new order is called, goes like, where is this army coming from? And then the other person is like, it's not an army. It's just people. And that has like this connect that I liked. But then this entire nonsense of them insisting that suddenly Rey is a Palpatine, and when they set it up in The Last Jedi that Rey was not, well, everybody is a someone. It's not like nobody's nothing, but that she was as in nothing, as in she wasn't connected to anything. She was just very fucking Force sensitive and very attuned to the Force, and that's it. That was it. That's who she was. And I was like, that's awesome. We don't need a Skywalker. We don't need another member berry, something connected to lore. Let her just be Rey. And yeah, that kind of felt meh. But I'm with you. I remember seeing Attack of the Clones in the cinemas for the first time with a group of friends and a very close friend. And at the end, him and I were like, this is like the best Star Wars movie ever. This is awesome. This is great. This is perfect. And then 6 months later, it came out in DVD and we rewatched it. And like halfway during the movie, we paused it and we were like, this is some hot shit garbage, isn't it?
Well, it's really also
that whole bad.
And like, Rise of Skywalker. I don't know how long it took to make. You know what I mean? Years. I'm guessing it took years to make. I doubt they did it in a year. Let's put it this way. But that whole every ship in the universe kind of helping out thing, it felt very much endgamey. You know what I mean?
The portal scene, yeah.
But they all came out in the same year. So it's not like someone saw Endgame and said, man, we're going to have to do this in our movie. They had to have done it under, you know what I mean? Both of them were created independent of each other. Because
what happened What happened in the year that those movies came out? If I remember correctly, when did Rise of Skywalker came out?
It came out Christmas time 2019, which was about several months before COVID hit.
So, if you look at
3 months before.
Yeah. So what was happening, especially in the entire world, but especially in the nation where these movies were made?
Brexit? Was that when Brexit happened? Or?
No, you guys were talking. We're talking about the couple of years, the first few years under President Trump, and
well, no, Star Wars is made in England.
No, well, but it made it Hollywood. Is it made in England? But I'm talking about as in, people see it as an American movie.
Yeah, true.
So here's the idea: is that no matter what point of view you're from, if you're like left or right or liberal or
the people, But
it was all about we need to unite. So
but you have to also remember, and this is coming from someone that thinks Trump is like the biggest hot piece of garbage in the universe.
Mm.
He's not the problem. Okay, it's the fact that there's 47% of the people that like him that's the problem. So it wasn't like it was like 99% of the world against him. It's like 53% of the world against him. You know what I mean? So that's it. But I get it. And
no, but what I'm saying, that's what my point wasn't so much that it was anti-Trump. What I'm saying is that no matter which side you're from, whether it was Trump supporters or Trump haters, it was all about we need to unite to fight the good fight, and that's what a lot of movies were, and the movie before for both Endgame and Rise of Skywalker ended on the huge downer.
Yeah.
So it had to get into like a big upper. I'm gonna have to go get another beer in a moment, by the way. So, but yeah, that shit was, of course, a big thing. I, by the way, am one of the people. You're going to hate me for this, maybe, and we can get onto that in a little bit. I loved what they did with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi.
No, I do. No, yeah, I'm game.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm game.
So we can talk about that, but let's do the video games first because you wanted to talk about that, and then we can talk about the.
No, we can talk about the movies first, and then move into the video games.
Can I get another beer though?
Yeah, grab a beer first, though. That's more important. As Thomas grabs a beer, let's go through some comments. Let's see. Okay, we went over that one. Stuart, what's going on, homie? It says, I only got into Star Wars about 12 years ago because I met a now good friend of mine who actually did his master's thesis on Jediism. He studies fixed religion, also tokenism, and so on.
Oh, that's awesome.
And when you were talking previously about Lucas and stuff like that, I understand that like he's been involved in other movies that I think are fantastic. More specifically, it's pretty much just Indiana Jones is kind of the only other one that really does it for me. I find him very much kind of like Tolkien-y or George R.R. Martin in a sense that it's like, even though he's invented other things outside of Star Wars, that's kind of like, that's it. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the thing.
That's what he's known for.
Yeah. And then Leon, your boy there, I have one last question for you guys. What's your opinion on C-3PO being blocked to translate descriptions in The Rise of Skywalker? Still not
that was really fucking weird.
Yeah.
I still think that was very fucking weird. I'm quickly Googling something about this beer because...
Do you think it was more like...
lazy writing?
Well, you think it... Well, I would phrase it a different way. They had to advance the story and they needed a way to do it.
Oh, maybe that they had to go like,
you know what I mean? They're like, okay, let's, but it's also fantasy, so you can believe anything.
We need to up the stakes. We need to have something that is the answer, but not the answer yet, or something. I don't know. It made no sense. I thought it was really fucking weird to suddenly have C-3PO be able to talk both Sith languages, and also it sucked. It was stupid. Very quickly. Sorry, I don't have a smoky dark. I do have one or two smoky dark beers, but I wanted to try this for a while. Simcoe Dry Hopped Dark Lager.
There you go, Wild East. Yeah,
I'm very curious about this. This is it's Siberia Brewery. and Wild East Brewing Co. I'll make a picture of it in a little bit. I think. Well, what do you think about the entire thing? The entire C-3PO.
It is what it is. You know what I mean? Like my thought process is more broad in that I think they need to make a movie work. Like there could be there could be an explanation or a reasoning behind that got cut from the film for all we know.
Well, the original film, that the guy who did Last Jedi wrote the director and everything. He was going to make the sequel to that. He was going to make The Rise of Skywalker. I think it had a different title at the point, and then they just disagreed with some things, and because fan reception of The Last Jedi was really bad, they were like, we need to make something that really works. And people, as much as The Force Awakens was basically just like A New Hope redone.
Like it was a beat for beat.
Yeah, but people at least enjoyed it, even though they criticized it. They enjoyed it. People did not, on the whole, enjoy The Last Jedi, and they were like, "Shit, we can't have this guy make another movie, especially if it's going to be the ending of this trilogy, and we're going to get J.J. Abrams back." Now, here's the thing. Remember what I said earlier? How fans should not write for the fandoms because they often get it wrong.
And for people that are, you didn't mention that here. You mentioned it during our Star Trek pod about how Frakes, it's the same thing. They removed Frakes because they were scared he was going to make another crap movie instead of having somebody who knows what they're talking about. Anyway, go ahead.
But the thing is, J.J. Abrams made the first two Star Trek movies in that trilogy, the reboot kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And he knew about Star Trek. He enjoyed Star Trek, but he wasn't a fan or anything, which gave it a completely fresh perspective and made something that really worked. And those Star Trek movies were really fucking fun. Now he got to work into his fandom, and look at what happened. He was like, "Oh, I love all these things from my first ever, so I'm going to redo all of it because that's what I loved so much, and I want to redo that again. I want to capture that magic." So he basically just remade the fucking movie. And he did the same in a way with the Rise of Skywalker. Let's have Palpatine in here. Let's have like a big fleet fight at the end, which we got. Let's have epic lightsaber battles on that have to, I don't know, determine the course of the future. It just felt like a ripoff again, and it was entertaining, but it just didn't feel like original Star Wars. And you can say whatever you want about The Last Jedi. It was original. Yeah, because it went places that Star Wars hadn't gone before. Including this is a rant I've done. May I rant a little bit?
Have at it.
This is a rant that I have done on why Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi makes sense. Here's this kid, right? In A New Hope. What is he? 16, 17? Give or take?
Like, that's what his age is supposed to be in the movie.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not talking about more but that's the character's age.
Yeah.
Who is so bored with the life there that he has, and he knows that there's this big struggle in the galaxy, but he's not really a part of it because he has to farm moist.
Farm moist.
He has to farm moist. And then suddenly, here's this sort of weird guy that the village kook, as they I think would call it, comes up to him and goes like, "Hey kid, did you know that your father was like a big shot and nobody talks about him, but he's like a huge hero, and he was really strong in like this mystical force that makes you like do epic shit, and you're as strong as him, and I can teach you, but you have to leave this planet and you have to become part of, a fight against evil." And he gets dragged along before he knows it. And he's like, "I can't do it because I got to go find my droids." And then, he falls in love with his sister. Not yet, he knows that it's his sister, but, she's hot in the hollow image. And he gets sort of like, horny a little bit. And you still good?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
I heard Taco's in here. I thought I heard him.
So he gets it's okay. He gets horny a little bit, and then he suddenly gets dragged into the rebellion, and then he has to fly a spaceship because he always wants to fly spaceships. That's what he wanted to do. And then the old wizard is pumping him up, and then he meets the space pirate, and he meets the princess, and the princess is actually really hot, and she's cute and she's fun. And then before he knows it, suddenly he's on an ice planet after destroying the big space station, and he's a commander or captain, whatever they call him, and he's learning how to use this force because he can actually use the force, as we find out in the beginning of Empire. And then he's being told by a ghost of a dead dude that he really respected that you got to go to this planet, and then there's going to be this huge Jedi warrior that's going to train you. And then he learns that he's actually really fucking capable, and he can do shit. And then he has visions, and his friends are going to die, and oh my God, I'm going to have to save him. And there's the big dude that's the real evil in the galaxy. And guess what, bitch? I'm your father. This kid gets fucked over a lot more, and then suddenly, not only a couple of years later, well, he tries to hone his powers and search for his long-lost friend, and still try to fight this good fight with the rebellion. He gets told by a dying sort of little dude that's starting the Force, and the ghost again of his old mentor. Not only do you have to go kill your dad, you're going to have to go and rebuild the Jedi Order. Oh, by the way, you have a sister. Who's she? The girl you kind of fell in love with? Oh, fuck. He has this huge responsibility thrust on him. Does actually defeat his father, but doesn't kill him. Hooray for him. Still has all this anxiety, PTSD thing. Starts to rebuild his Jedi Order because he was told to, realizes it's not that really freaking easy, has so much built up angst, anxiety, fear, doesn't know what to do with it, and suddenly there's his nephew showing the exact same fucking behavior that his dad did and that he has inside as well, because let's face it, Luke was very close to the dark side all the time, and he's done some sketchy shit with the Force. He's done some shit with the Force that if the Jedi saw it, they were like, we need to talk. Yeah. So no wonder that at some point he said, you know what, fuck off. I'm going to be a hermit on a planet, and I'm going to drink milk straight out of the titty from some weird alien cow. And that's why I think they did the exact right thing with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Sorry for that rant.
Have you read any of the books, the approved canonical books? Star Wars. Yeah, I haven't.
Give me the old stuff or the new stuff? Because before Disney bought it, they had all the novels. I read a few of those. Not a lot of them, but like 4 or 5.
This is just, it has nothing, because I didn't read them. Okay. I forget when it was. God, several years ago. But so I was just, probably bored one day doing a deep dive on whatchamacallit, deep dive in Star Wars and stuff like that. And I started to kind of look up about the books, you know what I mean? About the books there. I guess it's weird because they don't necessarily call them canon, but they're accepted in the Star Wars universe, like they've been allowed to be made. And
no. The old books before Disney took over, the old books were literally canon.
No, they are, but not all of them. Anyway,
I always thought what I'm talking about. Oh, okay.
Well, no, they are, but there's some I don't know. I read that there's some are and some aren't. Regardless.
Okay.
I didn't know this. I looked up one day, I would say maybe 2/3 of them, if not more, were written by somebody that lived like a half an hour away from where I lived.
You're fucking joking.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to go find this person. They're all, if you look, most of them were made or written out of a town called Holmesdale, Pennsylvania, which is middle of nowhere. But somebody out there, I don't know who they are, was just this crazy Star Wars person. That, or they were kind of like the printing house or the publisher for the books. I'm not quite sure which is which. You know what I mean?
For the Dutch viewers, you need to realize they're like half an hour away. That's not special. Half an hour away.
It's like 5 minutes.
The United States is it's like 2 houses down the road for us. Yeah. So just so you know, that's a pretty big fucking deal in the United States. Yeah, but that's actually okay. I didn't know that. No, I actually think they did quite good with Square Table Degenerates. I went to Kent State May 4th, got a whole different meaning. I have no idea what that means. He's gonna have to explain that. Do you know what that means?
I went to Kent State. Kent State is a university.
Yeah,
so
I got that. I got that.
I'm not putting two and two together. May 4th got a whole new different meaning for me. Maybe something. Maybe there's a connection between Kent State and Star Wars. I'm not privy to.
Could be.
You know. So that's that. But he said, yeah, he said half an hour in the US is literally a work commute. It's literally my work commute is exactly 30 minutes.
So is mine, by the way. That's interesting though. That's funny. May 4th, 1970, there was a huge crash.
Was that the shooting? Was there like a shooting at Kent State or something like that?
Oh, okay. Sorry. I didn't know that. I hope I didn't.
Yeah, shooting. Yeah, there was like I forget.
Okay. You're Googling it now?
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. But
okay.
Anyway.
Okay. So there's a lot of things we can still talk about, and we'll get to many little things that we're going to keep sidetracked because that's what you and I always do. But the video games, I'm curious what you wanted to talk about because I've played some games.
Okay. So one of the first video games that I ever got addicted to, it was, and you have to appreciate that this game came out in 1983. So that puts me at 7 years old. You know what I mean? So that puts me at prime video game addiction territory.
Mm-hmm.
Is Star Wars. Let's see here. Let me share a screen here. How do you do that again? I forget how you share a screen on this thing.
Yeah, I haven't done that in such a long time. I forgot how you do it.
Present. Share screen. Let's go there. So this is like a list of all the Star Wars games on Wikipedia. This 1983 is the first Star Wars game ever to come out, and it was the one that it was arcade based, and it was one of the ones that like super duper got me addicted to video games. Let's see here. I gotta switch. Why is it doing that?
I can't help you here because I haven't done this in ages.
No, it's a window. That's what I want to do. Share window. Okay, perfect. Now we're good. So it was this game. It was this game here, which was the polygon based. It was all polygon based.
Oh, I love those games.
And it was and it ended with the trench run, and it was like the coolest thing. And this is on the Atari, but it's.
I love the Atari. I used to have a 2600.
That's what you know what I mean. And it was like, this is like Tron level stuff. You know what I mean? But this is like, I got so addicted to this game. I can't tell you how much money I put into this machine because it was arcade based. It came out for the Atari and stuff like that later. But
But the thing about this is perfect for the Star Wars universe because it looks sort of like, well, it doesn't look sort of like, but it evokes the feeling of the heads-up display they think they had in the New Hope. Remember what I mean? So this just, I love this. Oh man, that is so freaking addictive. I could play that for hours.
So that was the first one. Okay, then they came out with the next one. I'm just going to go through ones that I got addicted to. Was the NES one, and it was just a side scroller, stuff like that. It was actually a really, really, really bad game. What did it get?
Was that the one that felt like the OG Prince of Persia game?
I guess a little bit. You know what I mean? You can see it. Looks like a remapped, it actually played a little bit more like Castlevania than anything else. But that, cool. I love that. That was great because I played at home.
Castlevania is a good comparison. I get it.
This 1982. Well, I guess it's before the other one. ColecoVision. This game I played till my thumbs worn off, and that's
like
all it was. Basically, it was really bad.
Oh my god!
Let's see if I can find a video of it. Oh, this is a 2600 version, but it was like literally you played like Pac-Man. Oh, come on! What is it doing? Atari. Let me see. Coleco. Why isn't it? Why is it not showing the right one? Anyway, let's see if this one shows up. Okay, 2 ads. Wonderful.
Of course, no, it's standard these days. Fuck.
Ah, there it is. Look at that! How horrible that is. It's fantastic.
That's snow speeder.
You basically are flying on Hoth.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that is so. I don't know this game, but I immediately know that this would have been one of those games on the Atari 2600. That square table.
And you have to see where you have to shoot at. You have to shoot at the dots. Like you can see, like a dot will show up. Oh, he just crashed. Anyway, this one was great, but I will tell you right now, the most addictive one is this motherfucker right here. Star Wars Return of the Jedi Arcade. I want to say I put maybe $100 million into this goddamn thing. What locally, in the United States, we have pizza joints. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And pizzerias typically have a small. Almost all the ones traditionally had a small arcade section. It was kind of like a thing. You go there with family, the kids would eat some pizza, and then you'd be like, go play arcade, so the parents could drink beer and not worry about their kids. So I used to go with my buddy Matt. His parents used to take us out all the time to this pizzeria, and they would just give us they were wealthy. They would give us like a sack full of quarters, and we would just sit and play this game forever and ever and ever. And basically it was a couple stages. Basically you're on a speeder and you have to get to the end of the speeder stage. Okay. And then there's like why is it showing different games? What? Oh, I might have skipped to something else. Let me search web arcade. Okay, maybe this one a little bit better. Okay, this one might be a little bit better. The video's not as good, but it doesn't matter. So you would basically have to get through the speeder stage. And if you defeated the speed, look at that, how bad that is.
Oh my god.
C-3PO and R2 and the Ewoks. And
but that feels like one of those games where you would that like almost no one would make it through the speeder stage.
No. And then you get there, and then once you get to that, then you go through the Death Star stage. So it's for Return of Jedi. So you got to fly through. And it was like, oh my god, it's like 3 dimensions almost. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I put so much money into this machine. Like I should have been buying Apple stock or something. I don't know, but yeah. Oh my god.
Oh shit! Look at that.
Like honestly, I'm gonna download an emulator.
No, because suddenly don't do it because you're gonna start playing it, and then you stop, and then you think like, let's have dinner, and suddenly Micah's 13 years old.
Yeah. And then you destroy the Death Star, and you have to keep cycling through until it gets. Then you see a little at thing where you're with Chewie. That would be you'd go back and then you'd have to do the speeder stage over again, and then you'd have another thing you'd have to do, and then you'd have this where you like it kept adding levels on. It's basically a game that was created so you just keep putting money into it, but it worked really well. And then just quickly, this is the best Star Wars game that was ever made. Star Wars: The Force Unleashed.
I've played a little bit of it, but not that much.
By far and away the best one that was ever. It's basically So did you ever you watched the reimagined Battlestar Galactica, right?
Yeah. Oh, Sam Witwer, the guy. Yeah, he's in that Battlestar Galactica. And Sam Witwer is
he's Crashdown in that.
Yeah. Do you know how famous Sam Witwer is in the Star Wars fandom? Do you know who he also played?
No.
No, you haven't seen the Clone Wars and shit like that. He became what for some is the best version of Darth Maul
Oh, really?
He did the voice for many things. He also voiced Palpatine a bit. He can do a great Palpatine.
Okay.
He did many voices, but he voiced Darth Maul in the Clone Wars things and everything. He did a great job in it. Sam Witwer is a legend in the Star Wars
Oh, I did not know that.
fandom. Yeah. For, among things, of course, The Force Unleashed. Yes. But
Okay,
he's
so
famous.
so he did the Clone Wars before he did the video games. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
He outsmarted Dave Filoni.
Oh, he's in
He
Enterprise.
out-nerded Dave Filoni. Do you know who Dave Filoni is, right?
No. Oh,
Okay,
no,
so-
he did the video game before he did Clone Wars. Okay.
So basically the big honcho for Star Wars right now is Dave Filoni. He wrote and produced or directed or whatever so much of the Clone Wars, and
He
is
is
a
in
big
a
deal.
ton of Star Wars shit.
Yes, he is. But so he sat there. Dave Filoni is basically like the walking encyclopedia of Star Wars, and he's behind shows now, amongst others, like all the things like Ahsoka and Mandalorian, together with other people, of course. But he's like a big part of the creative process of what is now Star Wars. And they had like this table read of one of the episodes, and here's this new kid coming around the block. Sam Witwer was very new at that point, and they were doing a table read of an episode where Anakin has a vision where he's talking to his mother. And like a half dream, half vision thing. And they're sitting there, and Dave Filoni is there, and they're reading the script, and somebody's voicing whatever. And Anakin goes like, Mom, I want you to meet somebody. I'm married now. I want you to meet somebody, and you're going to love her. This is Padme. She's my wife. And Sam Witwer, after they rehearsed that scene, the table read, was like, can I say something? Dave Filoni is always wearing a hat. He's like, you made a mistake here. And they were like, you need to shut up. This is Dave Filoni. You need to shut up right now. If you want to have a career here, you need to shut the fuck up. And he's like, but no, but you made a mistake. Shmi, Anakin's mother, already met Padme in The Phantom Menace. And you just see Dave Filoni looking at Sam Witwer, and he just goes like, that he forgot. Like one of the core movies. And Sam Witwer is not just in Star Wars. This guy is one of the biggest Star Wars fans.
I never knew that. I didn't know that.
He is huge, and he out-geeked Dave Filoni.
And honestly, it shows you... Yeah, I knew he was in some stuff, but I didn't realize it was like that. And honestly, that's very much like my disconnect from a lot of the animated stuff, more specifically in the newer stuff. It's just like I knew he was in one of my favorite games, two of them, because it did Unleash 1 and 2. And I knew he was in Battlestar. So I was like, oh, the guy from Battlestar is in this. And no, the guy from Star Wars stuff is in Battlestar, is what you're saying.
Isn't that fucking amazing how you can... By the way, speaking of Battlestar Galactica very quickly, did you know that the... what's his face? Who plays Adama? Oh, God. He was in...
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
The actor.
What's his name?
James Earl Osmos?
Edward James Olmos.
One of his sons, or his son, or I don't know how many kids he has, but one of his sons has a part in Battlestar Galactica as well.
Yeah, he's a pilot.
He's one of the Viper pilots. Yeah.
Yeah. What's his name again?
And Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah, she plays in The Mandalorian. Yeah.
Yeah, but and in the Clone Wars, that's a big character as well. In
Star
Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hot. It might be Hot Dog. That might be who he plays in.
Hot Dog. He plays Hot Dog.
Yeah.
You're good. You're good. Well done. I love this shit. I love unscripted, off the books live streams like this, just talking about the fandom stuff. But I think you would really, and I get your thing with the animation. It took me a while as well because I felt like it's going to be. How is this going to be?
No, it's not. It's not a matter of like my brain has a problem with animation. It's nothing to do where I think it's going to be for kids or whatever. Because there's a ton of animation I've seen that's not for kids. It's just something about animation. It just my brain doesn't like it. Doesn't like it. But and then the most newest one is Jedi Fallen Order.
I
These
haven't
are
played
really
that.
good. These are really, really good. This is the first one. The
There's
next
a
one
sequel
is
too, right? Yeah.
Survivor is the sequel. Fallen Order I played and beat. It was hard. Hard at first because this is the kid from Shameless, and he played the Joker in one of the DC TV movies or TV series.
Yeah, the Gotham, wasn't it Gotham?
Yeah, this kid. Cameron Monaghan. Yeah, it was Gotham. Yeah. Anyway, I just view him as a kid from Shameless, so it was hard for me to disconnect from that. But the first one was done really well. I enjoyed it quite a bit. The second one, I don't know. I played for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I just stopped playing it. So I don't know if
I thought everybody loved Survivor.
I'm not saying they don't, but for
Okay.
me, it was just a little bit. It didn't keep my interest.
I need to ask a quick question to Cornet because he says Sam deserves to get so much more recognition for his role in Star Wars. Yes. It's just so mind-blowing what he did in the Clone Wars. Yes. And then he says, and The Force Awakens. Who was he in The Force Awakens?
Let's see here.
Oh, you got still.
Wait, whatever. Yeah, I'm here. Okay, hold on. Keep going. He might be. Maybe he's thinking of Force Unleashed instead of saying Force Awakens. He meant Force Unleashed. Those are the two video games that he was in. Lego Star Wars Force Awakens.
Oh, maybe he did that. Yeah, that could be.
I don't know.
Because I can't remember him from The Force Awakens.
No, here he is. He was Alien Stormtrooper additional character. So it looks like he did face not exposed parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of those, I loved the cameos that have been done by people as Stormtroopers. Mm-hmm. Daniel Craig, Tom Hardy. I love that. I love shit like that. It's so fucking cool. I would love to just be like a Stormtrooper.
Oh yeah, anybody would. You know what I mean? Like,
so
and that's the thing. Like, it's like, what they probably paid. He didn't have a line, so he probably got paid because he have to. Because he's part of SAG. But like, he's probably like, yeah, just give me $1 or something. You know what I mean? Like,
wasn't that what Brad Pitt did for
Marvel not Avengers. What was it?
Yeah, I'm not even talking about the Deadpool movie. The other one he did, the movie with Jason Statham.
No, not Snatch.
Snatch. Yeah, I think he did that for like almost nothing.
No, I mean, he by his standards, but he was a major role in that.
Yeah, but he also got like I think he like got severe. He meant Force Unleashed.
Okay,
he did mean Force Unleashed. Speaking of Star Wars games, have you played the movies Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2?
No. I've played them, yes. But I played them out of interest for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then went back.
It wasn't for you?
No.
I love those games. Those were I bought the original Xbox 2 decades ago. Was that 2 decades? That must have been like 2 decades ago. I bought that because of that game. And I still think it is one of the best Star Wars games ever. And I understand that it's not for everybody because the fighting that you have to do is like role-playing game turn.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not...
But I love the progression of the story and how the choices you make influence the ending to a degree. I mean, there's like 2-3 possible endings in the end, light side, dark side.
Actually what is a banger? Squadrons. You ever play Squadrons?
Is that the flying the flying?
Yeah, it's basically a flight simulator.
Flight sim, thank you. Yeah, no, I haven't played that because I have like a shitty laptop right now. My laptop really isn't set up for gaming.
Oh, okay. But I don't think it's graphically super intensive. Like, I think you can actually have like a mediocre setup. And
my processors My processor is an i3.
Yeah, I mean it's on PlayStation and Xbox.
I mean, if you can play it on PlayStation, you can play it everywhere, right? That shit sucks.
But I'm saying, do you have a consoles or no?
Mm.
No, okay. But yeah, video games have always been like, video games. I want video game tie-ins to movies, and they never ever fucking happen in a way that's good. Almost every video game based off a movie is epically hot fucking garbage, like to like an nth degree.
Yeah.
Which is weird because now like every single video game IP that becomes a movie or show is fucking fantastic. So that's good, I guess. It's weird. They can make the video game into a show or movie, but they can't make the show or movie into a video game. But Star Wars is the exception. I'm trying to think of any other like. Can you think of any other like movie or video game that movie or TV show that's translated to video games really well?
No, I mean the only thing that just pops in right now is because you're talking about connecting. Is that I've never played it, but they did this Matrix game that was apparently part of the entire storyline of the Matrix trilogy, the original trilogy. That things happened in the game. You didn't need to play the game to understand things happening in the movie, but a lot of things that apparently happened in the movie with characters made a lot more sense if you played that one game. That's the only thing that I can think of in terms of how it connects. I'm not sure how well the game was, but that's the only one I can think of. I really loved that one Lord of the Rings Return of the King game. I thought that was very well done.
I know which one you're talking about. It was okay. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was like what is it like was it first person or third? It was third person, right?
Yeah.
Oh, third person, semi-open world, kind of like RPG, but not really grinding. You know what I mean? Like more like Assassin's Creed-y in the sense, kind of.
I will say that there is one thing that I liked when you talk about games and franchises is Star Trek Online, which it went off the deep end after a while, but in the first couple of years, they really had like campaigns that told stories that really worked well into the universe of Star Trek, and expanded on things that happened in previous shows, movies, and whatever. But other than that, no, I really can't think of anything.
Yeah, it's weird. It's I'm even looking it up. There's like a hey Mike, what's going on, homie? Mike,
happy hour.
A bunch of good beers. Yeah, I'm trying to look. Nothing here really. Like people listen off. Actually, a lot of them. Okay, I think someone actually wrote the Matrix Path of Neo. Is that the game you're talking about?
Could be. I don't know what it's called. I just
everybody's saying GoldenEye was like the best because GoldenEye and NES, but that was just a first-person shooter. It just happened to happen.
Yeah, but I think everybody just loved that because of the music. But
well, not just that. It wasn't. It would have been. People would have liked it. It just happened to be called GoldenEye. You know what I mean? It was like it had nothing. It's not like it like advanced some crazy plot point or anything like that. No. It was a network first-person shooter.
Every time I hear people talk about GoldenEye, the game, they just talk about the pause music. Literally, that's all everybody talks about. The pause music or a screen set up music, whatever, was amazing. Leon does actually have like a great Star Wars man cave. It's unfucking believable the amount of Star Wars Legos that he has and memorabilia, and he has one of those. He has two masks. I think I once posted a video on YouTube. You might have seen it. He has two masks that you can put on. One is a Darth Vader one, and the other one is a First Order Stormtrooper that does the voice box thing. The Darth Vader one.
It's funny. I found a really nice list of video games. Let me share screen again, and then.
Sorry, Star Wars Pod Racer was fucking amazing.
Well, first off, we missed Spider-Man. I mean, but that doesn't count to me. they're saying number one is all the Spider-Man games. Like the new Spider-Man games are bonkers good, but that's also like Spider-Man. Like it's not even based off a movie; it's based off a fucking comic book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they can.
But look what they have at number two, the second best ever, Knights of the Old Republic. So there you go.
Knights of the Old Republic, but that's because of the lore behind it and
GoldenEye, the Warriors. Man, oh, this is the Lord of the Rings one you're talking about, maybe.
Could be. I mean, I played it on Xbox, but again, the first Xbox.
Alien, Riddick.
Alien Isolation is supposed to be fucking amazing. I've never played it. People are like, if people say that if they make Alien Isolation as a movie, it will be a great movie. And I think the new movie that they're doing, Alien Romulus, is basically Alien Isolation. From what I heard.
There's a Middle Earth one too. I remember that Mordor's Nemesis. I played that one actually. Kingdom Hearts, don't care about it. Ratchet & Clank, Toy Story. Yeah, all these.
There's a King Kong video game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Scarface. Mad Max.
What?
Aladdin. Yeah.
No.
Meh.
Fallen Order. So, we just mentioned like your worst Star Wars movie because that's easy for people to say like what's the worst one because we all hate things. What's your favorite one?
My favorite Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
Probably Empire. Either Empire or Jedi. It's not going to be any of. It has to be one of the original three. I'm that guy. So all the other ones can't even be in the discussion.
I find that one difficult because I think about it a lot. I agree with you to it. I will probably always say Empire as well. But do you know which one I rewatched the most? Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. That movie. That's a really good movie. It is.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, I think it's gotten to the point where people have come around on it. The bulk of people come around on it, but it's like, especially like that movie's great, but the last third of that movie just fucking hums like a fucking machine. It's fucking fantastic.
I mean, some people joke about it, and it's a horrific scene, and I know why it probably touches your heart in a way that's just not, but it does mine as well. The way they filmed the entire scene where he gets into the Jedi Council chamber and there's all these younglings.
Yeah.
The sound effect they did for him igniting the lightsaber and not showing anything, and you know exactly what happened there. Yeah. Because reflecting back on Attack of the Clones, where he already killed all the Sand People, including children. Which, by the way, can we just please quickly acknowledge the fact that should have been a sign where we all realized how badly Padme was written? Because here's Padme, who's supposed to be this voice of reason for everything, and he just admits that he killed so many innocent people, including children, and she's like, "Oh, Annie, it's okay. What the fuck? Dude just admitted he killed kids." That already sucks. But yeah, that entire the moment that he decided that he's gonna stop people stopping Palpatine, the movie just went fucking.
So,
yeah, I think I know where this one's going.
Do you know about the American beer?
Okay.
So there's a really shitty American beer called Yingling.
Yeah.
Yingling Lager. And this is one of my favorites. It's like I've seen a security hologram Anakin killing Yinglings. Instead of Younglings.
Oh, speaking of Star Wars and beers, I haven't Googled it. Have you? If it was true?
No, I didn't. I did real quickly, but I couldn't figure it out. like for legit.
I still want that to be true. I still want that to be true.
Yeah,
I've seen so many versions of it. Yingling, I never had. I
Yeah.
always thought Yingling was an Asian brand.
So no, Yingling is from Pottsville, Pennsylvania. I have been to the brewery. They weren't super far from where I live. They are credited with the America's oldest brewery. Quote unquote continuously operating brewery, because there was breweries that like stopped during Prohibition. You know what I mean? So, but they kept operating somehow or whatever. So it's like kind of a weird play on words. But they've been around for a long time. They're staunch alt-right supporters, so I don't fuck with their beers all that much. But every now and then I'll drink one of them. But their beers are okay. But what was I gonna say? Oh God, I just totally spaced.
I know what you mean.
No, I was gonna say something else about Yingling now. Oh, the best thing about it. So Yingling is from Pennsylvania. It just had nothing to do with Star Wars. I just think it's a funny story. Is that Yingling is from Pennsylvania, and you're talking about like especially from like the 90s, 2000s to even the 2010s, like craft beer kind of blew up and got very, very popular. But Yingling was always a mainstay in Pennsylvania, and their main beer is Yingling Lager. Okay, from when they started making it back in the day, it's not called Yingling beer, Yingling Light, Yingling whatever. It's Yingling Lager. And almost every other, and they're like macro brewery, but technically they're classified as micro. They're always number one on the micro brewery list as far as barrels produced, but it's because they cheat. Anyway, because they only make a couple shitty beers. Anyway, so in Pennsylvania, if you go up to a bar, and it might have changed now with the boom of craft beer, and you wanted a Yingling, you said this phrase: "I'll take a lager." That's all you said, because I'll take, because it wasn't Bud Lager, it was Bud Light or Budweiser. It was Miller or Miller Light. It was Coors or Coors Light. It wasn't Coors Lager. It wasn't like no one ever used the word lager. You know what I mean? In the States, and especially in Pennsylvania. So if you would go to anywhere as a Pennsylvania person, you would be like, you go up and if you say, "Give me a lager," they know exactly what you mean. They know, oh, this person wants a Yingling Lager. So fast forward, and somewhere in like the late aughts, early teens, I go on a trip with my brother-in-law, who knows nothing about anything. We go into Massachusetts, and he's like, "Oh, you want to go get a beer?" I was like, "Sure, let's go get a beer." And it's probably 2008 or whatever. And he's like, "Go up there," and they ask me what I want, and I'm like, "Okay, cool. I'm in Massachusetts. You know what I mean? I get to have stuff I never had before." I'm like, "Give me this, blah blah blah." He's like, "Okay." And then my brother-in-law's like, "I'll take a lager." And the guy's like, "Okay." Just standing there like waiting. He's like, "What do you want?" He's like, "What kind?" He's like, "A lager." And the guy, the bartender's like, "Yeah, but which one?" He's like, "Lager." You know what I mean? Like, assuming that all he had to say was the words lager, and it magically would appear in front of him like the only beer ever named lager was Yingling Lager. So it was like an Abbott Costello Who's on First routine in real life. It was pretty hilarious.
Oh shit, that's awesome. I wish I had something similar here in the Netherlands. We just don't. We have so many different brands. The like you do, of course, like the Heineken, the Amstel, the Hertog Jan. You have to specifically say. Well, what happens though is, here's a fun thing though. Everybody will have their own favorite brand, their own favorite brewery. Like I always struggle calling this a brewery. I know they brew their beer, but I see them as factories. It doesn't matter what your favorite brand is. If you walk into a bar and you just want a lager, a pilsner, you just say biertje. It doesn't matter what they have on tap. It doesn't matter what your favorite brand is. You just want a biertje, and you'll get it. That's what you drink. It doesn't matter what brand it is. It doesn't matter what they're serving.
What does that mean?
Biertje, beer, but as in a diminutive form.
Okay, so like I just want beer. Just give me a beer, like a generic beer.
Like I'll just have a beer, and that's what we do, and it just doesn't matter anymore. But that's the only sort of like comparative thing I could think of. We do not have anything as regional as what you just described.
Yeah, no, and I don't think you could because your country is thousands of years old. And we're new.
Yeah, well, that is kind of a thing, isn't it? I responded to this video the other day where somebody was talking about sitting in I think it was in Italy, somewhere in Europe. I think it was. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It was in Italy, I think, that he was so amazed that he was eating at a place that was older than America. I'm like, oh shit, son, be careful what you're saying on Instagram right now because you're gonna get fucking wrecked. And if you read through the comments, everybody was like shitting on this American dude who went like, this place where I'm eating is over 300 years old. It's older than the United States of America. Oh boy,
that's funny.
Yeah, for us it is. But what we just quickly were talking about the favorite Star Wars movie. Yeah, I think as much as I will say that the best made Star Wars movie is Empire.
Well, no. The best Star Wars movie is Empire. The best made Star Wars movie.
Oh, yeah, well,
the newer ones. Yeah.
Yeah, made. Sorry. Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
The best Star Wars movie to me is Empire. But the one that I rewatch the most, but and here's where things get a little bit dicey, tricky, interesting. Often when I get the chance to watch a movie, it's like once or twice a week. And that'll be on a Saturday evening or a Sunday evening. And I often want to watch something that I'm either really interested in, like this is new and I really am curious, or I'll watch something, oh my fucking God, he's gonna I thought you were gonna shotgun it. Or I just want to watch something that I know that I like and that is entertaining to me and also easy to watch. And that, to me, is Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And not in a negative way, easy to watch, because it is a pretty heavy movie at times. It gets really dark. But yeah, that's why I think Revenge of the Sith is one of the better Star Wars movies, because it has a high rewatchability content. But yeah, that's me. What did you just do?
So this is cheesy. I did not plan this, okay? But I figured I would just put two and two together. I tried to find a Star Wars beer, so I actually have a Star Wars beer. What? It's Zigmeister. It's their. I wrote the Millennium. I just wrote the Millennium Falconer.
Jesus fuck.
So I have a Star Wars beer. A for effort there.
Oh man, that's fucking amazing. I love you and I hate you at the same time right now. I'm gonna grab a beer as well. I need a beer as well. I'm gonna be right back. I only had 2 lagers so far. I want something a little bit heftier.
Okay. Let's see. Comments. Well, Thomas goes away. We'll go back to let's see. Oh, Paul Prier-Bruno stopped by. He said, enjoy Star Wars on this day. You must. Get a little Yoda-esque in there. Cheers, Paul. Square tables like went to Kent State. We talked about that. There's tragedy. Leon storyline. Anakin failed because he wasn't trusted, and Luke didn't fail because he had the right people beside him. It also shows good friends can form you. That's a very, very true statement, fictionally and for reals. Best Star Wars video game. Some might not remember Bounty Hunter for the PS3. I don't remember that. Oh, he said PS2. Sorry.
I never even heard of that.
Holy heck, that looks awesome. I think this is when we're going through video games. Not remember this game. I have a Atari 2600 as well. You're mandated by U.S. law to eat pizza at least 2 times a week. I won't argue against that. Sam Witwer is a fucking awesome. Bring Star Killer to life.
Yeah. Dude did that. I mean,
Mike. So that boys, what's going on, brother? This is good. my Star Wars man cave, we will have a beer and play all the games. I have Knights of the Old Republic 1, 2, and Battlefront 1 and 2.
Look, let me explain Knights of the Old Republic to you, right?
Okay.
I remember having that first Xbox. I remember that's how awesome I felt this game was. I remember so many evenings in the first few weeks that I had this game, and it was a game that really you could play for like hours and hours and replay it and go back to things. Realizing that my alarm would go off in 7 a.m, and and everybody knows this, everybody who's played video games, thinking it's 11 p.m., right? And you just say to yourself, I'll play for like maybe an hour because I have to get up at 7. And then suddenly, you know what I mean, right? It's 3 a.m. in the fucking morning. Oh,
I've never had that happen to me ever.
Fuck you. Yes,
that totally did not happen to me like twice last week.
Exactly. Beers, just getting back to beers very quickly. Why are we not appreciating sub 6% IPAs anymore?
What do you mean?
Well, people are always talking about it's like, well, this one is. Let me show you the ABV. Where's the fucking ABV? I hope the focusing goes okay because sometimes the camera doesn't want to focus properly.
There you go, 5.9 or 5.5.
Yeah. By the way, I really love I want to get your opinion on it. I don't think I've heard your opinion. What do you think of the webcam?
It's good, man. Is this the one that you're testing out? You had me, I think you used it a couple times. Yeah. No, it looks good.
It's fucking amazing, isn't it? Yeah. But anyway,
this is off your samurai top knot really well.
I got the katana right over there. So anyway, sorry. I remember years ago we can say years ago during COVID. We can finally say that now. We did so many live streams, and I was waving around the swords in the background, being fucking drunk on them. We were all so drunk on so many live streams. Good old days. Do you remember the barley wine live stream?
Mm-hmm. It's recorded. I remember.
I know it's recorded. Do you know what I did back then?
No.
This is not the one where it took this is
no, I remember it existing. I don't remember anything about it. I know it happened.
It's the one where live on YouTube, I drunk dialed.
I don't remember that one.
No, I remember it. Well, I don't remember it, but I rewatched it, but I remember it. Like, oh my God, oh, this is a nice question. I actually like this one. If you watch the original trilogy, so this is one that can go a bit further. Do you watch the original or the remake with Hayden? As in, do you watch the special editions or the originals?
Wait, if you watch the original trilogy, do you watch the original or the remake with Hayden?
No, what he means is, this is Leon again, my nephew. What he means is, do you watch the original trilogy or the special editions where George Lucas went back and altered things here and there?
Oh, like when they show the people at the end of the Jedi and it shows Anakin instead of
yeah.
No. So yes and no.
I think I know why. I'm not going to say anything, but I think I know your answer.
So this is one of the best things about the internet.
Yeah.
The internet has done very many horrible things. But the best thing ever is that George Lucas has decided that he is going to remake Star Wars. Not remake. Sorry. Alter and remaster is a better way to put it. So over the course of time, he has gone through several iterations of different remasters of the original trilogy.
Like 3 or 4 or so, I think.
Yeah, no, there are 3 or 4 ones that have Greedo shooting first, and some don't. It's like insane.
Exactly.
But the constant theme here is making it the fidelity better is the core of it. But he's also couldn't help himself but change things he wish he could have changed or done back in the day. So as a graphical fidelity nerd like myself, my first inclination is to lean towards the newest ones because they're the cleanest looking ones in 4K.
I knew it.
But my soul wants to watch the originals as close as they were to the original. But there's a group of people out there on the internet. But what Lucas won't do, he won't remaster the originals as they were. He only releases the newer version. Like he's like, I edited it. Like when he releases like, New Hope 1.7, that's it. I'm not going to remaster 1. I'm going to remaster 1.7 and add more stuff to 7.
If he's going to do an 8K version, he's going to do the version he did as the latest and probably alter some things
and
again.
I knew
this was going to be your answer. I knew this was
and there's people online that actually go and take the newest version and cut it up and re-edit it to where it's the exact, as close to the exact original version without all the added parts, but still in 4K. So those are the ones I watch. So there is subtle differences that they can't edit out, but they'll remove the Jabba scene from Mos Eisley. They'll remove the dumb shit I don't want to see. You know what I mean? And so I'll have the highest fidelity version with the most original version.
I love this because I know you well enough to know that you're such in the best beautiful ways. You're a tech geek. You're like you said, you're a hi-fi nerd. You love your audio and video shit. So I knew this was going to be your answer. That the purist in you would want your OG, but that the tech suave guy wanted the best audio and visual thing. I will say that there were a few changes in the different versions that George Lucas has done so far that makes sense. I mean, if you really think about it, it sort of makes sense that when we see Hayden or see Anakin appear as a Force ghost, we see him as he was when he still was on the light side. So, some of those little things I kind of make sense. Why suddenly the door to Jabba's palace had to be a gazillion times bigger than it was.
Yeah, no, like
I have no fucking clue, it's like
there's what? Some things I'm cool with, like the Hayden thing, that's fine. Like the Death Star blowing up more dramatically, fine. You know what I mean? It's when they're inserting, like they inserted the stormtroopers on those fucking walker lizard things and New Hope. I'm like, I don't really need that. Like the goofy stuff that ships and shit in Mos Eisley. Like there's some stuff I'm like, I can do without it.
One little tidbit that I liked is Han Solo running through the Death Star, chasing the stormtroopers, and suddenly coming up on a big group of them, and he turns around and he runs away again. And they did this little thing where in A New Hope, suddenly it's like, I don't know, 10 or 20 times as more stormtroopers as it was in the original version. It kind of made the entire impact of him going, oh, fuck, a little bit more. It's the little things like that I can sometimes like, but the other little gags, like the one droid hitting the other droid over the head in Mos Eisley, who said it didn't add anything other than, hey, here's a droid I'm going to use in episode 1, and now you can get used to it in episode 4. See, the universes connect.
Yeah.
It was not. Yeah. So, it's to answer Leon's question. It's the answer is yes and no at the same time. I don't know. I do sort of understand George Lucas when he says Star Wars is never finished for me. And I will always change it a little bit because it's my art and I can change my art when I want it.
Oh yeah, that part of it is his shit. He can do whatever the hell he wants with it.
I get that. So
yeah.
But at the end of the day, he needs to accept that the people who are watching it determine what they like best.
Oh man. So now let's move on to. Go ahead. You can say whatever you can say first.
Nothing. Sorry. I was
gonna say, do you want to touch base on like the I guess you'd say prestige TV side of things with the newer stuff? You know what I mean? And that's more you're gonna have to lead the way in this, because while I watched the first season of Mandalorian, I'm kind of like ambivalent to the rest of it. Like, where do you feel that the newer stuff, whether it be Ahsoka or Mandalorian or the Book of Boba Fett, or those shows, do you think it's from a distance, as a Star Wars purist, I see it as they're throwing pasta against the wall to see what sticks?
It's cash grabbing.
Yeah,
it's definitely cash grabbing, but there's also good stuff in it. But the thing is, to really enjoy it, you could watch the original trilogy or the prequel trilogy as what they are. You don't even need to watch 4, 5, and 6 to understand 1, 2, and 3. You can just watch 1, 2, and 3 and enjoy it for what they are. You get a complete story. If you want to enjoy things like The Mandalorian, you have to understand the rest of Star Wars. You can't watch Ahsoka and truly appreciate it without having seen Star Wars Rebels. You need to see certain other things to completely get into the other vibe. And it's a cash grab, as in it's well made. It's really well made. And I loved Ahsoka because I love the character of Ahsoka, and I really enjoyed Star Wars Rebels. But you can't watch these things separately anymore and not get all the nuances. You know what I mean?
No, I do.
And that's the problem. It's both a good thing and a bad thing. As in, the bad thing is you can't just sit down and enjoy something. The good thing is it's so awesome to have this huge immersive universe where everything is so well interconnected and becomes a huge whole. The thing is, though, and I hate that I'm sounding like such a pretentious snob.
You're a person that talks about beer on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's all right. They're used to it.
Dude, I have the head. I have the man bun. I have the beard. I have the beanie. I have everything. So I'm a pretentious snob. But I hate the fact that I understand that Disney doesn't do it for the fans. They don't do it because they want to tell good stories. They do it because they can earn a lot of money. And that sucks, because that kind of makes the motivation behind it. I mean, of course, George Lucas knew he could make a lot of money, but he wanted to make a lot of money because he had a good story to tell, and he realized he could make money with it.
Well, no, he knew he had a good story to tell, and he hoped he could make money.
Or hoped. Well,
yeah, knowing he'd make good money, I doubt he was that clairvoyant. You know what I mean? But he saw potential.
Hey, as we started his live stream with, his live stream with the fact that he was smart enough to get, he saw.
Well, he was also, you could replace the word smart, ballsy enough to bet on himself. You know what I mean?
Point. Fair points.
Like, because at that point it was unproven. Like that's the thing you have to remember. Star Wars is one of one. There's stuff that's like it now, when it came out, there was nothing like it. There was science fiction, but it was so hokey and it was so cheesy, and most of it was like, you know, like Star Trek in a sense that was like humans exploring space, not some other mythical, like
exactly. Now you get to the point. Now you get to
Yeah.
the point what Star Wars fans have been debating for years: is Star Wars science fiction or fantasy?
It's both.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be mutually
And
exclusive.
that's where it did. That's where it did the thing, because we all had Dungeons and Dragons was an established thing.
Yeah.
Sci-fi was an established
But Dungeons
thing.
and sci-fi was, fantasy was, but not in movies. I'm saying movies.
Not
You
in
know
the
what I
way
mean?
to get meshed together.
I'm really curious. I'm sure I've looked it up previously, but I'm really curious as to like that what is considered
Star Trek. Okay, I'm going to tell you one thing. This is how old science fiction is in a way. Star Trek existed before Star Trek was created, and it's called the Forbidden Planet.
There's my mouse.
In your hand.
Nah, I'm working through a setup.
I'm sorry, that was a shit comment. I'm so sorry.
No. It makes I have like so many computers right now. It's like fucking funny. And my mouse, the way my mouse will go from computer to computer to computer, not from screen to screen. Like it'll actually jump to the other computer on purpose. But I'm trying to get it to work properly. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to look at like old ass sci-fi movies.
Oh yeah.
Like what really? Come on, Wikipedia. Can't you give me the?
You mean before Star Wars?
Yes.
Space 2001. 2001: A Space
But
Odyssey.
that's what I mean. Like, when did that come out? That didn't come
before,
out
before Star Wars. Before Star
that
Wars.
did not come out. That came out before Star Wars.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Oh shit! Now I'm doubting, but yeah. But wait, 2001: A Space Odyssey. 1968. The movie 2001: A Space Odyssey is from 1968. That's 9 years before.
But again, and no, I like, okay, yeah, I hear, but it's humanoids in space. It's not some kind of science fiction like fantasy mashup.
No, but that's because of whenever we saw
like
aliens.
when did Dune came out in '84? So that would be the other one that kind of pops in my head. Flash Gordon. When did that come out?
1983, 1986,
and that's
1980.
Okay, and that's even that is again like
no, but see here
it has an Earth connection to it.
Yeah, but here's the thing, because Star Trek. If there is one thing that did aliens in space before Star Wars, it's of course Star Trek, because the show is in 1966. But because of budgetary constraints, aliens look like humans with a little bit of makeup.
Yeah.
And Star Wars is basically the first one that did aliens, as in they are fantasy creatures. They don't look like humans. They can be slightly humanoid, as in maybe they do walk on two legs and they do have two arms, but that's sort of where it ends.
But it's not even that. It's not even that. It's like the only connection to planet Earth in any form or fashion in Star Wars, and the only connection to planet Earth as we know it is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, which insinuates to us as humans, this is a story that happened in a galaxy long ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no, these people are not humans. These people are not on some kind of human-based agenda quest. 2001: A Space Odyssey, Star Trek. There's a prime directive. There's a reason they're there. They're exploring. They're whatever. Anything they do is based on relaying or something to do with the planet. Like it's a disconnection. That's the fantasy part, obviously, but there's a disconnection. Earth is not like there's not one point in Star Wars does someone think or reference or even know Earth exists.
And Earth is not a thing. I do believe humans are called humans. I believe that there are. Was it in one of the movies or in one of the shows that they specifically say human? But other than that, it's we just accept them as being human. It's not as if they consider themselves the human race. They could be aliens for us, as from our point of view. They could be very well could be alien. Oh shit! What? Are the two movies Caravan of Courage and Ewoks: The Battle for Endor worth watching?
My suggestion, Leon, is that you go onto the internet. Let me see if I can find it. I might be able to send it to you. So you go into an illegal downloading site. Okay.
They're on Disney Plus.
No. I'm not talking about that.
Oh.
You go on a legal download site and you download the Star Wars Holiday Special. And you go and you eat a bag of mushrooms and watch that. That's my suggestion. And then after that, you watch those 2 Ewok movies. The Star Wars Holiday Special. So what most people don't realize, or I would say, Leon, because you're younger, what a lot of younger people don't realize is that between like the mid 70s and the late 80s, there was a lot of cocaine being consumed in the movie industry, and there was a lot of bad decisions made based off of the amount of cocaine that was consumed. So it's not like it's not like nowadays where they're
writing rooms were just
cocaine dens of insanity.
Let's go.
And there's some really bad content. The Star Wars Holiday Special is up there. There's a podcast called Stuff You Should Know. SYSK is the abbreviation for it. If you type the SYSK space, the Star Wars Holiday Special, it's a podcast about it. It's probably a better way to kind of compartmentalize that into what is going on and explain the behind the scenes of that. It's just red hot insanity. That's what the Ewok movies are too. I actually find the Ewok movies to be entertaining in a slow hot train wreck of insanity kind of way. But if you really want to get in the nitty gritty of craziness, you definitely want to check out the Star Wars Holiday Special.
I think the best way for me to describe both of those movies would be Willow on a low budget.
Yeah. And with bad writing and bad everything else.
Yeah, but as in, that's basically it, because I, by the way, love Willow. But that's what they tried to do, Star Wars and Willow at the same time, and with no money.
And honestly, if you want to talk about hubris and ego, that's probably a Jim Henson thing, to where he's like, in Jim Henson's brain, like he's like, that's, like my Muppets. I'll get my. Didn't he have to do with the Ewok stuff? Didn't Jim Henson work on that? Or am I totally making that up my brain?
Mm.
Yeah.
This is, by the way, true what Adam is saying. They're not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's fucking.
Which is all the more reason to go watch it.
But there is. You just, by the way, said illegal.
Yeah, because you can't find it. Yeah, you have to go to the legal means to even find it. You can't.
There's a high definition.
No, you know what? It might.
There's a high definition version on YouTube right now. There's like a remaster.
That's what I mean. It might be on YouTube, but it's
You don't even. Time Bandits is better.
Dude, Time Bandits is one of the best movies ever done.
Why does that sound so?
Dude, Time Bandits is fucking amazing. I will do a Time Bandits fucking stream with you, brother. I love that movie. Nobody knows about that movie. Oh my god. It's basically It's basically like pirate. Oh God, what is? Oh, man.
I don't think I've seen this. The name is familiar. It's with Sean Connery. Is
John
that the one
Cleese.
with? Is that the movie with Sean Connery in like the sort of red leather thong thingy?
Hold on.
Sean Connery Time Bandits. Yeah, me too, bro.
I'm trying to find a screenshot, but I can't.
No, that's not the one that I thought. I have never. It sounds so fucking familiar. Why do I know? I don't think I've ever seen this.
It's horrible. I mean, it's not horrible. It's pretty horrible, but oh my God, it's part of the Criterion Collection. How the fuck did this get admitted?
Criterion Collection. No, but Criterion Collection. Here's the thing: they're smart, and they have become aware that there are many people screaming for many movies that aren't available in streaming everywhere. So they're just buying rights here and there very cheaply for many movies and just pushing them out. Anytime, I haven't seen it in a while, but never watched it drunk and watched Sliders afterwards. What the fuck?
Sliders?
Like, Sliders the show?
Yeah, because he's doing the whole time travel thing.
Yeah, I know, but I love the show Sliders. I remember that show.
Oh, well, okay.
I mean,
Sliders
love
is
it
a
as
pretty
in,
horrible show, but
no, it is, but nostalgia, love it. You know what I mean? Nostalgia, love it. Not like love it, nostalgia, love it. I'm going to be right back in like a little moment. I'm going to give you one bit.
Okay, do your thing. Holland was the top producer of cocaine for the Housewomen. Yeah, no, but yeah, but I never watched it drunk and watch. Yeah, Time Bandits is great. I'm all about the word bandits. It's like one of my favorite words of all time. Oh boy, getting up there. Go for 2+ hours. Got another hour in me, I think. Let's see. Trying to go back and see where we left off. So we already covered that. Oh, the two movies Caravan. Oh, we already covered that. Mercy Bears, Cheers. Man, all these specials so good. Well, anytime. Okay. Sliders is a show where the cast outshone the writing book a mile, writing by a mile. Yeah, I mean the cast is pretty awesome in that in a very cheesy way. So it's not like a great show, but I enjoyed Sliders, to put it that way. But I think it was pretty B-level stuff, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. So what'd you grab now, Thomas, beer-wise? You're muted.
I didn't grab a beer. I just quickly had to get rid of some beer.
Oh, fair enough. Actually, you know what?
Yeah.
I think I have to get rid of some beer myself.
I think that's
so I'm going to go do
idea.
that. You entertain while I do such things.
I did this in the peeing way, not the other way, by the way. Just
okay. Yeah. I hope you're not throwing up.
No. That would take a lot more than that. But yeah, you go. Do you?
Okay.
Leon saying Holland was the yeah, but I agree. By the way, Adam, that Sliders is it's the characters and the actors that made it work, but God dang, if that show didn't suck at some point. But I know many shows like that. Oh, sorry, I forgot. It's like. Oh, for anybody who's watching this on Matt's channel, it's nearing dinner time for you guys. I guess it's like, depending on where you are in the States, It's 23:15 p.m. here, so it's nearing midnight in the Netherlands. So if I yawn every now and then, it's because I had a 10-hour workday today, give or take. So it's been a long day, and I'm just chilling out and doing this, but I'm slightly tired. So yeah, 7 days, Adam, sounds vaguely familiar. 7 days. I don't know if
Okay.
Matt, did you ever hear of a time travel show called 7 Days? I'm sorry, yawn. Time travel show called 7 Days?
No,
Me neither.
no, I never heard of it.
Maybe it's a British show. It's a British show. It's a foreign show from a foreign country. Ooh, what are you drinking?
I'm opening an other half beer.
Ooh. I love the fact that other half is something that I can get regularly here and never do. It's a wait. Let me put you in solo for like two solo. Oh, nice. That's like what 6.5% ABV. Yeah, nice. Sounds good.
Lactose hazy.
Sounds good though. Ah, fucking hell, Adam. Fuck off with you and me turning into pumpkins. Just because pumpkins are orange doesn't mean I'm going to turn into one at midnight. It's a running gag. Damn it, now I want another beer as well. I'm going to grab a beer.
So we can talk about, go ahead, go grab a beer.
Yeah.
So now I'm deep diving on cheesy old 80s fantasy slash science fiction. And I'm curious to see what Thomas has to say about his favorite combo of those best. Yeah, see, I'm looking at best sci-fi fantasy, and they have like Lord of the Rings and sci-fi fantasy. I think it's fantasy to me. It's such a weird genre. Like I was kind of like talking while you're going to get a beer, Thomas. Like,
yeah.
Do you have any other sci-fi fantasy movies you enjoy?
Sci-fi
because
fantasy.
it's a very, very, very weird niche.
Yeah, I was thinking literally the same word, niche.
Because it's like, for me, sci-fi fantasy is obviously Marvel Avengers is sci-fi fantasy for me. I mean, it's comic book fantasy, but I could see it being that. But
I think
probably
but this is also
a better way to put it. Maybe is Hunger Games might be better sci-fi fantasy.
Could be to a degree. I suppose sci-fi fantasy is Firefly, but that only ran for like 13 episodes because you got the whole Western. You got like the Old West, and sort of like old. I don't want to say kung fu.
Okay,
but
Matrix. Matrix might be the best way to, probably the next best.
But I'm trying. Can you explain why you think that there's a fantasy influence there?
in the Matrix.
What's the fantasy? Because I can see the anime
The whole
influence
Matrix
there.
the whole Matrix is fantasy.
Yeah, but it's based on like a lot of like deep sci-fi. Like
True, I can see where you're going. Like basically,
that's what I'm
the
saying.
reason why I'm asking is because like I'm looking at the best of in IMDb, best modern science fiction / fantasy movies. They have Lord of the Rings. To me, that's not science fiction at all. That's just fantasy.
That's fantasy. How is that science fiction fantasy? That is fantasy.
What would you think about? How about Alien?
No, I still say that's. I talked about this with Mike at some point. It's horror fantasy.
Okay. Blade Runner.
Blade Runner is. No, I call that. I think I would still call that fantasy, sci-fi, not fantasy.
Mad Max.
So I can see the fantasy aspect in that one, especially.
It's almost instead of sci-fi fantasy, that's like dystopian fantasy.
Dystopian, like especially if you look in like the second one. What was the second one? The first one was Mad Max. Then it was Fury Road. No, Fury Road was the. What was the second one again? They all had titles. It was Mad Max. No, that's the third one.
Oh, okay. That doesn't matter. I'm trying to think.
Oh, he's so right. He is so fucking right. He is so fucking right. In the end, there can be only one. Highlander.
That's fantasy. Dude.
No, but they went into in the second one. They went into the future, and it involved an alien world. In the second one, in the franchise, they connected it that it was an alien world.
Okay. So I have a movie I love. Yeah. I absolutely love Mad Max 2 is Road Warrior, by the way. Yeah. I have a movie I absolutely love. It's an absolutely horrible movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think let's get on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm really curious to see. It came out in the early 80s. It's got a 17% in Rotten Tomatoes.
I think I know which one you're going to say.
What is it?
Oh, there's two options.
Okay.
It's early 80s.
Yeah.
It's either...
It is 1984.
So it's either Black Hole or Critters.
Nope. I love Black Hole. I think it's a fantastic movie.
I haven't seen it in decades.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the movie The Ice Pirates?
Which?
Ice Pirates.
No.
You need to watch it, dude. You need to watch it. Imagine a movie. It's a comedy, but it's a definitely sci-fi fantasy. And imagine if, like, I don't even know. Imagine if Star Wars was directed by Albert Brooks.
Fuck. Well, that's Spaceballs, but no, sorry, that was Mel Brooks.
True. Let me share my screen. So this is the fucking. Oh my god, this movie is so good. This movie is so good. That's the marquee, the poster for it. Ice Pirates. Oh my god, dude! And the plot of this movie is: in the distant future, water is so scarce and rationed that it is considered an immensely valuable substance, both commodity and currency, and ice cubes. Templars control the water and destroy worlds that have natural water, and it's about these people, a leader of these pirates, ice pirates, that basically rob these ships of ice. It's insane. It's insane.
It's available somewhere. So
it's honestly, I'm watching it tonight. I gotta find it.
I'm not gonna watch a movie again tonight because it's, like I said, it's nearing midnight for me. But I'm gonna look this one up. I'm gonna make a note here for myself. I'm gonna make a quick. I don't know about you, but I've gotten into the habit of leaving written notes for myself.
It looks like it's available, but it's like every place you have to pay a couple bucks to watch it. Like Prime
That's
has
fine.
it, Vudu has it, Apple TV has it.
Ice.
But I'm going to steal the crap out of it.
Ice Pirates. The Ice.
Yeah, I want a written report. I want you to watch it and do a written report on it.
We can do a stream about it as well if need be. So here's two things that I need to comment on
Or
very quickly.
It's a very cheesy movie, so maybe we do a stream about our favorite cheesy movies.
I can go for a long run on that one.
Can you go 3 hours?
Depends on who you ask. That was bad. First of all, Adam, you need to shut your fucking mouth. Because that movie was so bad. Do you know this movie,
What
man?
movie?
Battlefield Earth.
I've never watched it. I know what you're talking about Travolta with the mustache. I know what it is. But
so bad. I've seen it once. I think, you know what? I might have it on DVD. And then Leon actually has. I sometimes like these questions. If you have the possibility to change something in Star Wars besides Jar Jar, what will you change, story or character-wise? I would want in The Phantom Menace and in Attack of the Clones, especially the first half of Attack of the Clones, Padme Amidala is written as such a strong character. Like such an amazing, powerful leader. And then halfway through Attack of the Clones, suddenly she's like, I truly, deeply love you. And then the only purpose she has after that is to be Luke and Leia's mother. That's it. That's all she has to do. And then, so I would love to see more of a profound character growth and character presence for her than just the mother of Leia.
If I could change anything, good God.
Well, that's me.
I just get rid of blue milk.
What the fuck was up with blue milk anyway? Whatever was it in George's head that he was like, milk should be blue?
Yeah, I get rid of blue milk.
I mean, so here's the thing, right? I love cheese because I'm Dutch, but I love like no cheese.
Hey, Thomas.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you know a secret.
Pennsylvania Dutch.
Like 99.9% of the people in the universe love cheese.
I know. I know. It's a stupid joke. But I love the funky cheese, blue cheese, as they sometimes call it, like the veiny cheese, the moldy cheese. But when I think of that, somehow I think of the color blue because of the bluish hue the funk has. So when I think of dairy and blue, I think of the funk and mold. So when I think of blue milk, I think of funky, moldy milk. And when I think of moldy milk, I don't think of something like that's a delicious drink to grow up with. Yeah, blue milk is.
So, have you ever had any beers from J. Wakefield? Do you know J. Wakefield at all?
The name I know, I may have.
They're a Florida brewery. They're known for a lot of their like thick, big, rich stouts. I'm trying to look, see if I can find.
The name is so familiar. I don't think I've ever had any of their beers though.
They made a blue milk beer.
Of course, they fucking did.
But like, if you like go into J. Wakefield's like into the brewery, like there's murals on the wall of like C-3PO like chugging a beer and shit. That's how like in on Star Wars they are.
I'm game.
trying to find a beer. I don't know why I can't find it. I'm gonna give up. This will be fun. I give up. But anyway, they made like a blue Cantina milk, like Star Wars-y bill.
It sounds horrid. Did you have it?
No.
Did you try it? No,
because it was like a beer that you had to try to get. And I don't fuck with that shit normally.
Adam is saying two things. I would change it so that Mace Windu was only assumed dead. I think the entire Star Wars fandom assumes that Mace Windu is dead. I don't think anybody believes that he's dead.
Actually, you know what? I changed my. I absolutely 100% changed my change. Not the blue milk. I would absolutely let Samuel Jackson say "motherfucker" in a Star Wars movie. That's what I would change.
Yeah, that would be.
You're a Sith, motherfucker.
I love the fact that they almost snuck it into the Avengers, the MCU, the Marvel movies. I love the fact that they almost snuck it in there. That was great. Did you know that Marvel actually snuck in, or not snuck in, but actually dropped the F-bomb in a Marvel movie?
Deadpool?
No. Well, probably in the new Deadpool movie, but in an established one, in one that's already released, they dropped the F-bomb in a Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
See, Guardians of the Galaxy is like my least favorite. Like, I don't fuck with them. Like, I've seen 1.5. I don't mess with Guardians of the Galaxy. It's cheesy.
No, it's cool, dude. Everybody can. I like the Guardians of the Galaxy but then no, there's everybody has their own opinion, and it's okay to be wrong.
Yeah, it's okay for you to be wrong. But more specifically, on Adam's point here, he says Matt is wrong. Why wouldn't Bantha milk be blue? I'm not saying that Bantha milk isn't blue, nor would be blue. I'm objecting to blue milk as a whole. Like Agreed. A blanket objection to blue milk. I'm not saying it's not correct. I'm not saying it's not canon. I'm not saying it's what it should be or is. I'm just saying, fuck no.
Milk shouldn't be blue.
Blue Agreed. Is for blueberries, Bluey, and blue balls. Those are the only three things that are. Yeah.
Why is Bluey so fucking essential to adults as well?
Because I have a kid.
No, but when you look at it as an adult, you're like, holy shit. You're watching it with a kid and you're seeing it and you're like, there is a lot to learn here for adults as well.
Dude, I've been ripping Bluey shit for like over a year, and like 2 weeks ago I found out Bluey's a girl. Like, I didn't even know Blue I thought he was a dude the whole time.
The fuck?
Yeah, Bluey's a female.
The fuck?
Did you not know that? I didn't know it until 2 weeks ago.
No, I didn't know that. I need a moment.
And the only reason I know why is because they've been running, like, my kid entered the school system, like proper, and they've been having book fairs, and I bought a Bluey book, and they refer to Bluey as she, and I was like, what the fuck? So I typed in this Bluey girl, and they're like, oh yeah, online. Yeah, Bluey's a fucking girl. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's fine. I just...
No, but there's nothing wrong with it. Of course there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But Bluey's not is Bluey... Yeah, the show follows Bluey, an anthropomorphic 6-year, later 7-year-old blue healer pup who's guided by her abundance of energy.
Yeah.
Right?
Your world doesn't make sense.
I thought they were a brother and sister, but that's because of with the color, with the thing, with the blue, with the.
They explain that, and a lot of people assume it's a boy because it's a blue healer, but a blue healer is a style of dog, not necessarily a boy dog. So
Bluey's a girl.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to send somebody a text at some point. Who's a girl?
Yeah, yeah. Welcome to the we're talking about Bluey on May the 4th
Hey,
podcast.
by the way, I'm just saying it's amazing because this again says gender roles are stupid and we should, all look at people by the characters they are, not the gender they are or the gender they prefer to be. But the show really made me believe it was a brother and a sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crazy, right? Yeah,
I need to make a second
honestly, note. Look. Even your is it your nephew Leon?
Yeah.
Yeah, he even knows. He's like in the Clone Wars. When Bluey was in Clone Wars, she looked good character-wise. So when Bluey was in Clone Wars, we didn't even know she was a female. She looked great. She looked great.
I need to make a note. Yeah, go for it.
But to circle back on something we said earlier that actually is Star Wars related.
Yeah.
So we talked about how Hayden Christian Anderson has kind of finally gotten his flowers.
Sorry,
finally gotten to the point.
Hayden Christian Anderson. It's Hayden Christian. Hayden Christian Anderson. Christian Anderson is the fairy tale writer.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I don't know what I didn't realize they said that.
Hey, you can just call me Thomas. It's okay. You don't have to call me.
Yeah,
it's okay.
But he got so much shit for so many years, and finally got his comeuppance, or not comeuppance, his acceptance. Is that what's going to happen to the actress that played Rey? Like, it's probably going to be the same.
She's getting her own movie.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody likes her, right? Like, I like her, but I'm saying as a consensus, people don't.
Yes, but so here's the thing, right? I think you're right, because a lot of people, mostly, probably very alt-right wing male person, whatever you want to say. I want to say something bad, but I can't. Who didn't like the fact that suddenly this woman identified as a Skywalker. They all hated it, but family is so much. This sounds like it's fucking Fast and the Furious. Hayden Pooh wins. It's always Pooh. Who your family is and what your roots are and where you belong. Well, what your roots are is one thing, but who your family is and where you belong doesn't necessarily need to be about blood. It needs to be about where you feel where you need to be.
Did you just literally pull off a Fast and Furious reference?
No, I just but I just said
I don't have friends.
No, but I just said I don't want to make it about the Fast and the Furious thing, or I wanted to say it and I didn't say it out loud. But it makes sense for Rey to feel more connected to the Skywalker lineage than the Palpatine one, and for her to say, "I am much more of a Skywalker." So here's the thing, right? Have you ever seen these YouTube videos where you see kids, they're in like their early teens, and they never really had a father because dads either passed away or left or whatever, and they grew up with the stepfather. And on a birthday, they give the father a gift, and they unpack it and they unwrap it, and it's adoption papers. And these kids say, I know where I came from, but that's not where I belong. I belong here, and you're my father, and please, I want you to adopt me. I want to be part of your family, where you come from. And I think it's okay to, at some point in your life, say, that's maybe where I came from, but that's not where I belong. I grew up somewhere. Yeah. And I think that's the powerful message of Star Wars is, especially in the Rey storyline, is that she felt connected in the Skywalker lineage. And I, by the way, hate the fact that so many people are like, oh, she's so overpowered and she didn't have any training, but she uses the Force like it somehow comes naturally to her. Oh, you mean Luke Skywalker? Who
Yeah,
blew
no,
up the Death
there's
Star without.
definitely, yeah, there's definitely a heavy dose of
Yeah,
misogyny or sexism there. But
I
it's
fucking
like,
hated that.
but I mean, not to. I don't want to use the word go a step further because I think it's the same conversation, just a little bit different. It is. Are you this or are you that? It's are you the good side or the bad side? That's the choice. You could still be related. You could still be a Skywalker. You could still be a Palpatine. You could still be that, but it's the family you choose on the Force side of things that defines you as a person. So it's like everybody has a choice in life, and like Star Wars is a good kind of echo of the good and bad of society. It's like, it's the quick way versus the hard way versus the good way versus the easy way versus whatever. You can get to point A and point B and accelerate your whatever it is you want to do, whether it be accelerate your work status, your clout on YouTube, your musicianal status, whatever it may be. There's easy and dirty and quick ways to get where you want to go and yield a greater power in a quicker period of time. But the slow and steady path wins the race. I mean, it's an Aesop fable. It's what fucking Star Wars is, if you really look at it. And it's like, what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the easy path that gets you to here, or are you going to choose the harder path, which doesn't guarantee you here, but guarantees you a higher ceiling if you choose to work at it? You know what I mean? So, it's a metaphor for life.
I will say, by the way,
drinking out of all negative Star Wars glassware right now. It's like Darth Vader. I got like some horrible fucking.
I'm drinking the dark beer.
Yeah.
I will say this though, this is one thing where I do dislike the shitty writing from Star Wars over the last couple of years, is that you're talking about choices and what do you do to get to what you want to have, and do you take the easy way or the long hard way? And Anakin chose the easy way because he got influenced at saying that the dark side is blah 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 blah, and you can save your wife, blah 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 blah. And apparently, suddenly, Rise of Skywalker establishes, yeah, but there's Force healing, and there's so many memes and little animated things going, like Anakin going like, what? Force healing has always been a thing? Yeah, you heal through the Force. Somebody dies or nearly dies, and you heal through the Force, and they live again. This was a thing? This was always... So... this is where I go, like, where I do understand at some point that fans go, like, Disney really did some shoddy writing here and there.
But that's the point. I mean, to the point that you made kind of earlier, like, about like the cash cow making money sort of things. Like, they could literally make anything and slap Star Wars on it, and it'll make a buck. But if you continually do that and you don't make something good, it'll eventually wane. That's just how it works. So, like, they have the luxury of being a juggernaut that is Disney, that holds so much IP to where they can misjudge some things and still recuperate. But if they continue to make just constant, I call it, prestige TV, which is like, Netflix, Disney Plus, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's all Disney Plus now. For everything, but if they just regurgitate bullshit with just fan service, it's eventually going to be like, okay, I'm done. You know what I mean? Yeah. You burn me. It's like a brewery that makes really good beers, and they rest on their laurels, and they assume you're going to buy the beer because they're the brewery that makes that beer. And then after about a year, you're like, you know what? You haven't made anything good. You're not date coding. Your quality control sucks. Like, that's it. I'm done with you. It's equilibrium. For me, it's like at this point, I won't buy any EQ beers because I'm like, you just it's consistently mediocre at best. And like, I understand you made the good stuff. I understand you have a history in making really good hazies, but you just suck now, and it's been too much damage to my wallet and such inconsistency. I will wait for you to make a comeback, and when someone tells me no, you need to recheck, I'll recheck. But I'm out. I'm out, and that's the same thing that'll happen with Disney. And
it will, because you already see people in charge of Disney saying we need to take a good look at what we're doing with Star Wars and Marvel, because people are disassociating. They're not watching as much anymore, or they're watching it or being very negative. This is the Star Trek thing all over again. Star Trek The Next Generation was a hit, right?
Yeah.
Or it took a while, but it became a hit. Then we had Deep Space Nine, which was decisive. But if you look online right now, Star Trek Deep Space Nine has a huge following, but it was already the thing where, it became a tipping point. And ratings were going slightly down. Star Trek Voyager came along. It has its fan base, but people were being critical of it. They were like, this is like, you wanted to do something very new, strand a starship far away from the Federation. What's going to happen? Well, what happened is the status quo. It was The Next Generation light, And after all of that shut down, instead of giving Star Trek a breather, they immediately pushed Enterprise on us. We got Star Trek all over again. And we see this happening right now. Discovery, sorry. No. Leon just said something fun. He said, damn, you can't fight Vader alone. No worries, I got family. Just fucking. But so they took a break from Star Trek. They came up with Star Trek Discovery, and it was decisive. It wasn't so much, it got 5 seasons. It's in its final season right now. But Star Trek Discovery gave us Star Trek Picard. We got Star Trek Lower Decks. We got Star Trek Strange New Worlds. We got a Star Trek Section 31 movie coming. We had Star Trek Prodigy. Suddenly, the market is overflowing again, and people are doing the same thing, having the same complaints as they did back then with 2 Star Trek shows, sometimes even 3 on the air at the same time. Is the market crowded by too much of the same thing in the same IP, intellectual property? And that's what's happening with Marvel. That's what's happening with Star Wars.
I don't necessarily agree with that, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it's more simple. I think it's a combination of great writing, great directing, and good and interesting. Interesting protagonists. Mm-hmm. So Marvel, I love Marvel movies. I think I can't even watch DC movies. Like, I watched them and I get like halfway, a third of the movie, I'm like, I gotta turn this off. This sucks. I can't do it. But I can watch Marvel over and over and over again. More specifically, I can watch Iron Man and Captain America over and over again.
Oh yeah.
I love, sure, Black Widow, fine, whatever. I mean, fucking Hawkeye's dumb. But, the whole Hulk is great. What?
The Hawkeye show was awesome.
Hawkeye sucks. You know what I mean? Fucking Falcon sucks. Like Black Widow's cool. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. But for me, MCU was fucking Captain America, it's Iron Man, and they took them both away. That's why it sucks. That's it. It's not complicated. It's not like, oh, people lost interest. No, you took the 2 people that really mattered and threw and got rid of them.
Yeah, that and
it works the same way with everything else. You know what I mean? Like, Luke Skywalker and Vader now. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Like, sure, Solo and Leia matter. But
there's a fair point there because they tried to redo a Luke and Vader thing with Rey.
But they're not.
And Kylo, but it didn't connect. People didn't connect with it
because they're not Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, and Vader / James Earl Jones, Bob, whatever. They're not the same. I tried to do it. It's literally the same. They basically tried to do Cap and fucking Iron Man with fucking Falcon and fucking Winter Soldier. Like, they tried to do that. That's what they tried to do, and it didn't work. It works to a certain extent, but it works the way Methadone works. It doesn't work the way heroin.
I get you.
Yep. Not that I've ever done either. But.
That is a big bottle.
It's a 12-ounce bottle.
It looked like a huge bottle from here.
It's a 12-ounce bottle. It's just 12 ounces.
Now it makes me no. It was the perspective. Now it looks like a 12-ouncer. The way you had it, like the way you had but the way you had it
back here, it's like so gigantic. Like, look at that thing.
Oh, yeah. But the way you look at it makes. Never mind. Star Trek Lower Decks is fan service. That's why it sucks. I hate you, and I love Star Trek Lower Decks. So, what are you drinking?
W.E. Yerbacher's Sunday Morning Stout, which is a bourbon barrel aged coffee stout.
Fuck me.
We don't have much longer going on. We don't have much longer going on tonight. We're almost at 3 hours. So I figured.
We're gonna wrap this up in a little bit because at some point it's nearing midnight and I've been up since 6 a.m. I've been up for have I been up for 18 hours? Fuck me, I've been up for 18 hours. I sometimes forget that. A couple of months ago, 2 months ago or so. Long story short, short story long. We had this whiskey festival at work, or from based from work, but it wasn't at work. But it means that I had dinner at 6ish, and then we had the festival thing in the evening, and then I had to do some. We got everything together that we had there, like the whiskeys and everything, and all the decor stuff. So it was at 2:30 a.m. that I left there to where I had to go to a certain place, where I arrived at 4 a.m. I had a couple of hours of sleep, 3 or 4. Woke up, had a cup of coffee, did shit, and suddenly realized at 1 p.m. when I had some food that I hadn't eaten for 19 hours. I sometimes forget shit like this. So I wasn't aware that I've been up for almost 18 hours.
Nah, yeah. I get it, dude. I'm literally this live stream has been I needed this, dude. The past 30 days of my life has been this is not hyperbole, has been the most insane 30 days of my life ever.
I will believe that. You mentioned a few things in the last live stream we did with Adam, where we talked about some Star Trek things.
No, it's completely. It's not even that stuff's bullshit. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Not to get into specifics, and not that I want to, but between past 30 days, I started a new job. My kid went in the school system. My wife went in the hospital, and my dog died in 30 days.
So I didn't. The only thing I knew about was the job I knew about. I should have guessed about Micah doing school things and everything by now. Jesus.
Yeah. So I was
I will not talk about the entire situation with your wife because that's private. If you want to talk about it, we can do that.
No. I don't want to talk about it, but what I'm saying is I went from basically this is not a knock on her and any shit's imagination, but I became a single parent while my dog was dying. It was insane.
Yeah,
Insane.
and that's the
Insane.
one thing I did want to mention. Like, again, if you need to talk about things regarding your wife, we can do so in
No,
private.
everything's good.
Okay.
I mentioned this because everything's good.
Good.
My dog
But
passed away.
I
Dog
wanted
passed
to talk
away.
about. I didn't want to mention it
Yeah.
during the live stream, but you did mention it on Facebook about your dog passing away, and I didn't want to start about it because I didn't know. But that's, dude, pets. You know, pets in general,
Mhm.
but especially things like dogs and cats are like such a huge
Yeah.
monumental. They're family.
Like the-
they're part of everything, and they're like like I read
what
about.
what I went to today, like when I said that I was like running out of time and I had to get back, was because I had to drive to this place to pick up her remains today.
Oh.
That's what I was doing today. Ashes in a good way. Like it's like, you know, it's been a week and a half and everything's good or whatever. My wife is back from the hospital and everything's good with her. Like everything's on the up and up. Everything's good. It was an extremely stressful part of my life, and I haven't done a live stream. And you know, last time I actually did a live stream was when I jumped on with you and Adam, and that was like kind of like towards the tail end of it. It wasn't like I was like I was part of it, but it was like I jumped in towards the tail end and we had a good time. But last time it's been, I want to say like a year since I've done a proper live stream. So
the only live streams I've done, I think you've done the same. It's like when you do your live unboxing,
like hop in, yeah.
Stuff like that, but that's it. But like actual, like we've been at it for like basically give or take 10 minutes, but we've been at it for like 3 hours, and I haven't done things like this I've done here and there. I've done a few things with Adam where we do the sips and spoilers, where we talk about some Star Wars or Star Trek stuff. But that's also like maybe once every 6 months, not even.
So this is what I propose to you.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's do this again. And like give or take a month's time. You know, whether it be a couple weeks, a little longer than that. I vote for next one, riffing off my Ice Pirates thing. Maybe you do guilty pleasure movies. Movies that aren't necessarily great movies.
Yeah. That's why I suggested this in the chat. Like, if people have like a movie or a movie show that they want to talk about, I'd love to do this. We can do this, the both of us. We can have more people.
But and people can join in if they want. Yeah, it's
guilty like pleasures.
Me and you, we're doing it, and anybody else wants to join,
I'm fucking in.
They're in. They're welcome. But we're doing it. We're doing it. Guilty pleasure movies would be the next one. Because I have a ton of guilty pleasure movies, dude.
Same, bro. Same.
That Ice Pirates I talked about. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like guilty.
Do they need to be like science fiction, or can they be like just generic guilty pleasure movies?
I think the bar should be they're shitty, but you love them. That's the bar. Like, you know, Love Potion #9, like fucking like just really shitty movies that you love. Guilty pleasure, like. Now, Labyrinth is actually a decent movie.
I agree, but the reason I'm pointing this one up, I was the voice of the worm in a theater version of this.
I saw David Bowie in concert, so there you go.
Fuck you.
Guess it was co-headliner. It was David Bowie and somebody else. Guess who the co-headliner was. And they both sang. One opened, the other one led, and the other one played, and the other one played.
I can't guess.
Not a Nine Inch Nails, Trent Reznor.
I'm not a Nine Inch Nails fan like you are, but that is fucking amazing.
Yeah. Madison Square Gardens might be the best concert ever.
Fucking hell. You know what? On that bombshell, within like, give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's midnight.
Oh damn!
It's midnight for me, which probably means it's like dinner time for you.
6 in the afternoon.
Yeah. I would suggest that we end this live stream.
Let's do it.
So you can. What did you say?
I said let's do it.
Okay, there was a little bit of a glitch there. That could have been like an internet
Yeah,
connection or a stream.
internet.
Yeah,
Honestly,
Let's,
there's chickens outside screaming. There's a lot of stuff going on.
probably. I can only assume that you would love to spend some quality time with your family.
Yeah, no. I mean, from now till 8 o'clock is when Micah goes to bed, so it'll be us just hanging out with him, chilling, having fun. Me power bombing him into his bed, which is his favorite thing right now. I basically say power bomb. He freaks out and screams power bomb, and then he runs into our bedroom. And I pick him up and I throw him like a WWE character into his bed and suplex him. Then we do that like 3 times a day.
Yeah,
it's pretty
awesome. I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Hey, this was amazing because basically, like in the last couple of years or so, like the last year or two, the only people I've been doing live streams with have been like you and Adam. And we always talk about these awesome things like the shit like beers and movies and stuff like that. And I'm digging it. And the last 3 hours were like fucking amazing because I haven't done shit like that.
Dude,
I loved it.
Like I said, I was looking forward to this. It's been a while since me and you hung proper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here for it, dude. Like a very pleasurable Saturday afternoon. Thank you very much for listening to me talk about Star Wars and spout my opinions and
same love to you, bro. Same love to you.
Yeah. Fuck yeah,
it was awesome. I'm gonna go look up movies that are like really guilty pleasures and
Ice Pirates. Watch it.
I'll watch Ice Pirates.
So let's put it this way. I'll make a list of my guilty pleasure movies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You make a list of your guilty pleasure movies. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll send you. I already sent you one, Ice Pirates. I know you have not seen that, so that's your homework. You send me one you think I should watch. If I've already seen it, I'll be like, I already saw it, and then you move on.
I'll work something else.
When we reach one, so we'll basically the point is, you'll have one you haven't seen before. I'll have one I haven't seen before. We watch them, and that is our connection.
We're done.
Like,
absolutely fucking amazing.
What do you think about it? And I can be like, I hate your fucking movie, Thomas. I can't stand this movie. You suck, or it's great, fantastic, whatever. It makes for fun conversation.
We'll do it.
Do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this, bro. I think it was a great suggestion because you came up with this, and I'm looking forward to the next time.
There you go. Thank you, everybody who stopped by. Everybody except for Adam, because fuck you, Adam. But everybody else that stopped by, we appreciate it. Everybody from Korn to Remy stopped by.
Yeah.
Your nephew Leon. Is it Leon?
Leon.
Leon or Leon?
In Dutch we say Leon.
Okay.
But you can just call him the dude.
Cameron stopped by. Listen, Jimmy C stopped by and he said 2 things. He said, "Happy Star Wars Day," and then he said, "Love Natalie."
Love Natalie Portman.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like
look up her both of.
You know what I also like? You know what I also like, Jimmy? Breathing and life. And of course I love.
But look up both of Natalie Portman's Star Wars raps. Like rap, R-A-P.
Well, my favorite Natalie Portman thing is where she wore like Stop Wars shirt. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
So Natalie Portman wore a shirt that said Stop Wars.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Game on.
Well, no, it's even better.
Unless she said Stop Wars.
You know. And this is one of my favorite things of all time. Open new one. Oh, come on. Okay. This is like one of my favorite things of all time. Is that she wore this? She posted this picture where she has "Stop Wars" on it, and someone's like, "Picture of a stupid fucking hipster chick in a Star Wars shirt needs to stop." He probably hasn't even seen the movies. She probably hasn't even seen the movies, and someone's like, "Wait, what? This one?"
She was. Yeah.
Wait, she was in Star Wars, asshole.
It's like that one thing from How I Met Your Mother. The only people who don't like Star Wars are the people who are in Star Wars because they are in the Star.
Yeah, it's like the person's like fucking hipster with the stopboard. No, she's in the fucking movie. Stop it.
Fucking perfect. Yeah, I remember that. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Come on. Hey, go hang out with your family. Give them all my love. We'll chat about the next live stream, and we're gonna do this more often because it's fucking amazing. And I haven't done this in ages, and I really fucking loved it. Thank you, bro.
Awesome. Peace.
All right, cheers. Bye-bye.